That's my baby. I'm dying.
That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah!
What the fuck are you talking about?
Here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Flyers, the best hockey team of all time. Welcome in, everybody. This is Big Friday, only on A2D Radio. Every show, we are brought to you by our doc. Make him yours. That's Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, Burlington, Cherry Hill locations. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Tom Arnone, Ryan Brotto, Jake Friel, Frank Vespi, Pete Young, the family out there join us. Welcome in. We got a jam-packed one for you. Obviously, we'll do our viewer call-ins later on the show. Give you a 5-minute piece. Get it off your chest. You're in, you're out, done and done. It's like a drive-through. Get your point, boom. You get your food, yeah. That's how we're going to work it. Flyers, we'll do a little post-game. Obviously, a little bit after when they're done, but we're obviously going to talk some heavy Flyers later on in the show because it's exciting. I mean, right now you're up 2 against the Penguins, and it's been a while since you just feel like you might own a team. I don't want to talk too soon. But I feel like you might start owning somebody. You know, I just got that vibe. I feel like we might sort of own them. And we're going to play them 8 times, 6 more after this. I mean, how about an 8-0 piece? 8-0 piece. Let's go. Now, Sixers talk. We'll talk a ton of Sixers throughout the show. We'll have Paul Hudrick on from ESPN 97.3. He is a beat reporter for them. And he also has a podcast called Coming In for a Landing. So we'll talk to him. We'll have him on for about 10 minutes. And we'll ask him some questions about the Sixers. Obviously, not pulling the trigger on the James Harden move. We'll get his thoughts on that, and we'll get his thoughts on the direction of this team, and can they win as constructed. So we'll dive into all that at 9:45 when Paul joins us. So our main topic at hand will be Eagles. How about that? Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. Eagles head coaching candidates. And it ties into our poll question, brought to you by allcampusoc.com. Use discount code A2D for 15% off. Allcampusoc.com. Discount code A2D for 15% off all your team hats. They don't have it in stock. John Coyle, listen, reach out to him. Let him know. We sent you. He'll get the hat. Done and done. Our poll question. The Eagles have the least attractive head coaching job available. And some have been taken already. So do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. That's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcasts. We're there as well. Like, subscribe, follow, download, join the conversation with us tonight. And obviously, like we said later on in the show, if anybody wants to join us, DM any of our social media accounts, and we'll get you in here for 5 minutes. So, to our poll question, the Eagles have the least attractive head coaching job available. Agree or disagree? Well, they did before anybody even got signed anywhere else, right? So, like, the Eagles had the least attractive job before anybody came off the board. Right? And now you already have 2 guys off the board. Okay. So you got the number 1 and number 2 picks in the draft off the board, right? So that's what draws people to organizations, right? And, we have the 6, I get it, but cap hell, looks like a power struggle. I mean, some Lincoln Riley spoke maybe about that. Some reports came out about that maybe, turned him off from the job. So there's a lot of speculation out there, and the perception is that it always becomes a power struggle here, and I think that makes it extremely unattractive, especially when you're talking about a bad team, right? If you're talking about a young up-and-coming team, a guy might want to take a chance here. What we talk about, you got 2 quarterbacks, not 1, 2. The media scrutiny since 2017 after the Super Bowl between Foles, Wentz, and now Hurts and Wentz has been ridiculous, right? And I don't think anybody wants to, especially for their first coaching job, I don't think anybody wants to face the media day in, day out and have to answer them questions. So to me, I agree. The Eagles have the least attractive head coaching job available. It's not even close. And I would like to hear somebody tell me that it is attractive because the owner seems to think so, and he might be the only one. Because until something changes in the front office, or it feels like there's more of a mutual respect between coach and GM, I don't know how it's attractive to anybody. That's not even talking about the roster. That's just talking about, your general manager and your head coach. I mean, you said a head coach win a Super Bowl here and got fired, right? And part of the reason was because there was a power struggle between them two, reportedly. And that's the second coach now that's been fired over a power struggle. And you're talking about a general manager that's going to bring in his fourth coach and still have a job. It doesn't happen. It never happens. It's not how it works. Unless you're just winning Super Bowls with every coach and you just keep keeping your job because you're that good at your job. But that's not the case here. So I don't know how I don't know how it's attractive to people. And I'd love for the family out there, you guys on the panel, to explain to me how this is an attractive job and how you think you can attract people here. Because you might attract a college guy, you might attract a first-time head coach, but think about it. Why would some of these guys want to maybe leave the situation they're in where they're having success, even as a coordinator, for a job they feel like that no matter how good they do at their job, they won't see eye to eye with upper management? I don't know. So I agree. It's the least attractive head coaching job available, and it was before two guys went off the board.
So I see what you're saying. And so I look at the jobs available, right? So we know the Jets job goes to Saleh, so that's off the board. The Jaguars job goes to Urban Meyer, so that's off the board. Falcons goes to the Tennessee offensive coordinator, so that's off the board. So now you're sitting here with the Chargers still available, the Texans still available, the Eagles still available, and the Lions still available. And I comfortably say that the Chargers job is more attractive, mainly just because of Justin Herbert. And you look at all the defensive talent they have, and that's still kind of a younger roster. And I say that while knowing that, hey, they have to play Patrick Mahomes twice a year, and, there's some good teams over there. But, now you look at it to where, do I really think this job is less attractive than Detroit, with how bad of an organization that's been historically? And right now, given you see who this GM is, you see who this owner is, you see how old our roster is, and you see the cap hell we're in, I do think that we do have the least attractive head coaching candidate right now. I do. I do think as far as the openings, I think I would rather go to Detroit, as crazy as that is. And I can't believe I'm saying that. I can't believe that we're here and we're saying that we would rather go to Detroit than Philadelphia. But I just look at it to where, hey, maybe up in Detroit you can actually make a decision for yourself and you won't be undermined. I agree to the poll. I can't believe I'm saying this, but God, I mean, you could see the track record when you talk about, Howie Roseman is about to make his fourth hiring in 7 years. Jeffrey Lurie, ever since Andy Reid doesn't seem to be able to figure it right. And I get we have a Super Bowl and all, but it's not even about that. It's about how we fumbled the organization after that and how we have to climb out of this freaking black hole when you talk about a roster situation and a cap situation. So that's why, when we'll talk about, the candidates and who we want to come here, I'll just tell you right now, I don't even have Bieniemy on my list because I just can't picture a world why he would want to come here. Honestly. I don't know why he would look at the Chargers job and the Texans job and all the jobs out there and say, I'm going to go to Philadelphia and, go to where Doug Pederson, who used to work with me, he got undermined and he got thrown out of there and he was the scapegoat and he won a championship. So to me, I completely agree. It's not a good job. It's not, for a bunch of different reasons.
Yeah, and you look at it not only everything you said, but it's it's always going to be the coach's fault and never be the GM's fault. And I think that makes it extremely unattractive to people too, because they're looking at as soon as this ship goes a little south, it's not going to be his fault. It's going to be my fault, no matter how much success I have or not have. You're talking about a guy who brought this city its first ever Super Bowl trophy, right? and that guy gets fired after going to the playoffs 3 straight years.
Mhm.
So up until this year, it's tough for anybody to come in here and say, anybody out there that's like, yeah, this is attractive to me. Like if I'm a coordinator, that's why I said I might wait another year till something else opens up that I might find more attractive, because I'm just feel like I'm a lame duck here. I'm just going to come here for your rebuild, right? And I mean, that takes a lot for a coach to want to do too. So it's tough. Jake, what do you say to the poll?
See, it's tough, right? Because obviously, a lot of some of the coaches that some of us wanted are already gone. The Eagles situation obviously isn't a good one, because obviously, whoever's going to come in here, they're obviously not going to have their own say on personnel and stuff like that. They have to be basically a yes man. And again, who really wants to come here? But to me right now, the Texans are in a worse situation than the Philadelphia Eagles are right now. They don't have a draft pick, thanks to Bill O'Brien. And looks like Deshaun wants out. And you had Andre Johnson, who doesn't say anything, basically added the whole entire organization. So I just don't see how that situation gets fixed by any means necessary, at least anytime soon. But again, the Eagles aren't necessarily in a good situation either. Obviously, the question mark is Carson Wentz going to be the future of the franchise? Is Jalen Hurts the future of the franchise? We have the 6th pick, so maybe that's a little enticing for whoever wants to come here. But you can even look at it as 1A, 1B, whether it's the Eagles or the Texans. But to me right now, I'm going to disagree with the poll and say the Texans are a worse situation.
Shit owner for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that maybe entices people more there is Deshaun Watson. I mean,
yeah, but you can't even guarantee that he's going to be there next year.
Yep.
No, and you can't guarantee which one of these quarterbacks is going to be here next year.
That's
either.
fair. Yep,
I was going to
that's
say,
true.
I was going to say,
You're right.
Are we guaranteeing that Wentz is going to be here?
That's true.
Yeah, crazy. Frank, what do you say?
I disagree to the poll. I'm on the same boat as Jake, going with the Texans as the more unattractive of the vacancies. I mean, when it comes in terms of the quarterback situation, Deshaun Watson has been more vocal with everything that's been going on in the Texans offseason so far, with him wanting out, especially with the moves that happened over the past season, with Bob getting rid of his guy in DeAndre Hopkins and bringing in an often injured Brandon Cooks, and of course,
His money.
with the Sean not getting his GM. So I think
Where's coach?
it's getting pretty bad. And of course, the Texans not having a draft pick until the 3rd round, that kind of raises a little bit of red flags of, all right, what can I do with this 3rd round pick? Can I make this guy a star and somebody to satisfy Deshaun? But I still got to go with the Texans. That's my least unattractive vacancy.
Yeah, no, I mean, not far. It's not like one's really not much further than the other. Depends on which one, which one's shittier at this point. That's how I look at it. Which one's in more of cap hell, and which roster maybe you think's a little bit better, because up top in both organizations, there's some big time issues. Big time issues. Pete?
I disagree with the poll. Like, I see what people are saying to where we might not be in a much better position than some of the other teams. I think the Chargers is obviously more valuable. Like Ryan was saying, Herbert's a stud. But I'm sorry, we are so much better than Detroit. This is a franchise that sucks so bad that Megatron and Barry Sanders like, nah, homie, I'm done. And with the Texans, red flag, red flag, red flag everywhere. They suck so bad that they have no picks, like you're saying, no picks until the 3rd round. Deshaun Watson was out. They said no to his GM. They said no to his head coach. The owner keeps putting his foot in his mouth, whether it's his awkward as hell comments or his weird comments about who is running the team, even though they made a comment about how Deshaun Watson was going to help pick the coach and the GM, but whatever. Deshaun Watson, it's bad when Andre Johnson is talking shit. You know it's also bad when Andre Johnson is taking Deshaun Watson to Houston Rocket games to make a point about how much power Deshaun Watson has and his thoughts on things. The Texans are a mess. I will gladly say that the Eagles are a much better destination than the Chargers, or I mean not the Chargers, than the Lions or the Texans. Like, we at least have draft picks. Like, we know that whether or not we're going to have a quarterback in the building. Like, obviously, it could be Carson Wentz. It could be Jalen Hurts. We don't know. It is not looking good that Deshaun Watson is there, and you see a new trade scenario or rumor an hour about what the hell is going to happen with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson basically said today, I was at a 2, now I'm a 10. Basically comparing, he was at a 2 when they traded DeAndre Hopkins. He's at 10 now when they told him to sit down and shut up in regards to his GM and head coaching belief systems. I'll gladly, if I'm a head coach looking for my first gig, or I'm looking to get my foot in the door in the Philadelphia Eagles organization, I'll take all the bullshit that goes along with it, the Howie Roseman stuff, the Jeffrey Lurie stuff, the Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts drama, whatever. I'll take all of that. It is a far better situation than the Lions or the Houston Texans. I vehemently disagree with the poll.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about the Texans, I think that it's guys get in their feelings. Guys say stuff in the offseason. Guys say stuff after a losing season, and that kind of stuff always is part of losing. A guy wants out. He didn't get to pick his coach. Well, they didn't pick a coach yet. So, you know what I mean? Like, so, you know what I mean? Like, you still are part of that. So, I mean, he seems like Deshaun hasn't fully grown up, in my opinion, on some of his decision-making throughout the year, too.
I can agree with that.
So, like, you know, glass house, easy. And that's saying for a Houston organization that's been shit. But I still think that it's more enticing if I'm a guy that want to go where he is than go where this roster is. I mean, I got to look at a roster on a roster basis too. Like, neither are good. And listen, the Texans we're right there with the Texans. You know what I mean? It's not like it's far off on either one of them.
And to be honest, you know, the one thing I'll say, you know, that everyone talked about, well, you know, we have picks. Well, we've had picks for years, but we haven't done anything with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can have 10 picks. We've had 10 picks, and that was our worst draft. When we had the year where we had the most picks, that was our worst draft. So, like, I hear what you're saying. Like, draft, you know, picks are capital. You know, capital can be good players, and I understand all that. But with our track record of how we use picks, well, I guess it's value to some, but I look at it and I say, well, I'm excited about the 6th pick. I'm excited about having, you know, 8, 9 picks this year, but what's that going to look like in 12 months? I don't know.
I thought everyone was like really excited about having John Dorsey in there. Like, I thought that was going to like fix everything.
Well, we don't. The problem, Pete, is we don't even know what he's going to be doing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he just might be a guy, and it seems like to me, just historically and what, you know, Jeffrey Lurie talked about, John Dorsey, there could be 100 John Dorseys in there. There could be 100 Doug Pedersons. Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie are making the final calls. And I think that's an issue. Like, their scouts said, hey, we want Jefferson, we want Chin. And they talk about in their press conferences, oh, well, we rely on our scouts. Well, you clearly don't, because when your scouts said to go one way, you went the exact opposite. So I hear what you're saying, Pete. Like, does it give me a little bit more hope that maybe they'll listen to him? Sure, but
a lot of it comes to control, though. Yep. Like, it comes to where you feel like you can get control at. Okay? So, like, if I'm going, you know, a lot of these guys probably feel like they can get control in Houston because there has been
control. That's not a bad argument.
Yeah.
And they probably feel like they can get control in Detroit. Right? And they know for a fact that that's not happening here. And that's the reason that I agree with the poll. That's the only reason, because most coaches want to go somewhere where they feel like their input's going to be used. I don't think they're, and I get it. Like, if you're a first-time head coach, well, you don't really get that say. I understand it. But some of these shittier organizations over the last 10 years are going to be more willing to give that hire that much more control, because the general manager that is hired in both places is bringing in that coach. Make sense? So, like, Houston just hired a general manager. He's bringing in that coach, right?
Who'd they hire? I was curious. I didn't out seeing who they got.
I forget his name. Yeah.
Which team is this?
Texans.
Texans. He was
the Patriots. The GM, the Patriots guy. Yeah, I don't know his name.
Let me look it up.
That's
Texans GM is.
Yep, and like Clay says, they gave them
Nick Caserio.
Hasn't he had like a worse track record than Roseman in terms of draft picks?
Well, yeah, because Patriots
they trade out all the time, and then whenever they go and grab a guy, it's like, huh?
Well, they have the same problem we do.
Brady fixed that for 15 years. So,
yeah, but Pete, they have the same. The Patriots have the same problem they do that we do. They can't draft a receiver to save their lives.
No, they can't draft at all. That's the problem. If you look at a team that's somehow worse than the Eagles at drafting, it's the Patriots the last 5 years,
which is insane.
Yeah.
I was sitting in a bar watching that draft from a few years ago, the Lamar Jackson one. And I'm just texting back and forth with my buddy. He's like, they're going to draft Lamar. It's the most Belichickian thing they're going to do. And they passed on him for, what was it? The tackle, right? And he just texted me back. He's like, you can't be serious. This isn't happening. I'm like, and then he goes straight to the Ravens.
It's just a bad situation.
Yep.
I'm really in shock that we're in it because,
ironically, the thing I have felt so good about for the longest time was Jeffrey Lurie. When I would look at Jeffrey Lurie and I would look at all the other owners in the league, I would always think everything else can be wild and crazy. As long as we have Jeffrey Lurie, I feel we're okay because he was a smart, sound guy who got involved when he had to and stayed away when he needed to. He wasn't Jerry Jones. He wasn't putting his face on everything and anything in the building. And I think a few years ago I wrote a whole 5-page article on fucking Jeffrey Lurie and how much I prefer him over Jerry Jones. And now you're hearing the reports that he's the one banging his chest for J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and he's trying to fire the coaches in 2016, and he's involved in all this stuff, and you're hearing all this crazy shit coming out from behind the scenes. It's blowing my brains. Like, really? This is who Jeffrey Lurie's been this whole time? Fucking shocker, man. Because it starts, what's the saying? Always starts from the top. And if that's who we got rocking with us at the top, we're in trouble.
Well, I mean, I think winning the Super Bowl was the worst thing to happen for Jeffrey Lurie because now it's a loyalty parade. That's what we've witnessed. That's what was in his. That's what was pretty much said in his press conference, and that's what we see from Howie Roseman still being here. So, I mean, I'm not going to do a whole show shitting on Howie Roseman anymore because I've done it enough. So, but I will say that I know there's people. Obviously, we all agree to disagree on the least attractive job, but we're still all should be able to agree that it's a bottom tier job right now. It's a bottom tier job. It's considered a bottom tier.
I can agree. I have no disagreements with that one.
Like if you put it all up to all teams around the league,
28 to 32 is probably where we're at.
Yeah, we're ranking them a lower team because I mean, think about it. Look what it is. Look what it's become. And it became like that because of aging vets and terrible draft picks. Or enough terrible draft picks. It's probably the right wording. Enough terrible draft picks.
Yeah. I always compare it to the Browns, and what they did this year is they went in for the first time. The owner, the head coach, and the general manager all came to a decision at once and what they're going to do. And once they all figured out how to get unified on the situation, shit just got done. And you know what? We need that. We need to find a way for everyone to figure their shit out and find a guy who can make it all work. But that is easier said than done right now.
Speaking of trying to find a guy to make it work, let's rank out our top 3 candidates that are left out there. And we'll do that until Paulie. When Paulie comes on, we're gonna switch to Sixers, and then we can circle back to our list, and then obviously we're gonna be talking Flyers as well throughout the show. Everybody that has joined us, It's that mine are quick. It's Lincoln Riley until it's officially no, right? And you don't know that until money's tossed in front of somebody's face.
Yep.
You don't know that, and you just don't know. I mean, he'll say no. A lot of guys say no, and it comes out like, I love where I'm at, and then 3 weeks later they're not there anymore, and then they come out and tell you how it's just an opportunity I couldn't pass up, right? You hear it all the time. We see it all the time.
That sounds like an Urban Meyer case.
Yes.
You leave coaching for one reason, you come back, you leave again. Now you're the head coach of Jacksonville, and you get the chance to coach Sunshine. So,
Ronnie Bass,
Brian Daboll is the second one, just because I'm not in love with him. But there's not a ton of names left out there that I'm like, yeah, that's the guy. You know what I mean? That's the guy. And because if you look through them, there's nothing. There's literally nothing, and that's why. I know people like Joe Brady. I don't know, and now it's too collegey. Now we're really going to the college ranks. It's sort of easy to. I don't say easy, but it's sort of easy to do what he did with all that talent. Let's keep in mind, right? So a ton of talent, but we'll savor Eagles. Keep that. You have my three. We'll circle back to it when we after Paulie. So I think he's in the background. So I'll pull him in, and let's switch to a little Sixers talk, peeps. Let's get to a little Sixers. Paulie, what's up, brother?
What's going on, fellas?
What's up, Paulie?
What's up, Paul?
Hey, Paulie.
Hey, you guys.
what's up, Paul?
So just so everybody knows, Paulie Hudrick, ESPN 93, Sixers beat reporter, also coming in for a landing podcast, which is a freaking phenomenal name. Hold on, Ala. Hold on.
Truth.
That's a baller name.
Sports Philadelphia. So, been everywhere covering the Sixers. It's a pleasure to talk to you again, brother. And it's good to talk to you, and good to talk to you now because it got a little rough through the COVID stretch, and we're able to come out with 2 wins and feel a little bit better about ourselves. But the first question I think I have for you is, can this team come out of the East as they're constructed?
It's so hard right now because what you just mentioned, man, with all the COVID stuff, and it's not just the Sixers, it's the entire NBA right now. And you're seeing what's going on with Brooklyn. Yeah, they just got James Harden, but they're still dealing with this with Kyrie. And then when they all play together, how's that all going to work? The Milwaukee Bucks are still working out some kinks with their new players and their new roster. I still like them an awful lot. You can't count out the Celtics with what Jaylen Brown and what Jason Tatum are doing right now. I still don't like I don't like their bigs. I still think they are a big short of being a legit East team, upper echelon 1, 2, whatever. But the Sixers are just such a wild card because part of it is it was Embiid, but Embiid has been so phenomenal through these first few games. He's going to miss the next couple on the road trip. He's going to hang back because of knee pain. I'm told it's nothing serious, just precautionary. And I think at this rate, the way he's playing, just rest him. Not worth it. But a lot of it's going to come down to Ben Simmons. Quite frankly, offensively, how that's going to all work around him. The design of the roster is much better than it was last year. They all fit much better. They got much more shooting, much more spacing. So I think they have pieces that could make it work. But what's going to matter is how Ben Simmons kind of ascends his game offensively. And then Daryl Morey isn't going to sit still. It might not be a Bradley Beal. It might not be a sexy name, but they're going to make some moves. He's going to make a move or two to improve this team. So it's going to depend on those things. Depends on Ben Simmons, where he's at, how he kind of ascends, and then it's going to see what the roster looks like and what some of those changes are.
It's just funny what a week and a half can do, because when we were 7-2 and we were rocking and rolling and Ben was dishing and everybody was hitting shots and it was a kumbaya, and then you lose Seth, and I think what got under everybody's skin was the one unaggressive game where he attempted 2 shots, and it's like you're just too talented, and I think we just demand more. You don't got to drop 25 a night, but we just demand more. Ryan, I know you got a question, so you can shoot.
Yeah, and you talk about the COVID games and how we were able to see a lot more from guys that we really didn't expect to see play a whole lot or even at all. My first question is actually around Isaiah Joe, who I don't know about you guys, but the guy I love the kid already. I didn't expect to really see him at all this season, except for maybe some brief, parts of garbage time at the end. But my question to you, Paulie, is, when we get Furkan back and we get kind of this final, full roster back, do you see Isaiah Joe becoming kind of a normal part of the rotation now, maybe even over a guy like Thibault and Korkmaz, just because of how big he's been over the last week or so?
My initial thought is no. And listen, what he's done in the context of like what you just pointed out, Ryan, like the Sixers didn't expect him to have this big of a role this early and to do what he's done. He wasn't supposed to do this. They were obviously really high on him. Out of Arkansas, can shoot the hell out of the ball and did it at a high rate. You look at his shooting numbers; they were a little down his sophomore year, but he also had a really bad injury that kind of held him back. So he's gonna. I mean, you see it. He's a high-level shooter, quick release. I've been impressed with his decision-making for a 21-year-old rookie, second-round pick that wasn't supposed to be in this moment. The way he's processing the game has been really impressive. But I think Doc Rivers – and listen, I flat out asked Doc Rivers, like, is there a number? Is there a number rotation? Because Brett Brown liked to say 10 guys. That was his deal. 10 guys for the regular season. We go into the postseason. We might chop it down to 9 or even 8. Doc Rivers said, if guys are playing well, I'll play 13, 14, 15 if I have to. I don't think he wants to do that. But when you got a guy playing like Isaiah Joe has, yeah, maybe it forces his hand. But I think when they're at full strength, when Furkan Korkmaz is healthy, when Thibault is healthy, when Mike Scott's healthy, I think he's going to defer to those more veteran players. But listen, Isaiah Joe has done nothing but help himself. So if one of those guys struggles or one of those guys gets hurt, Doc Rivers isn't going to be afraid to throw Isaiah Joe in a game. So that's kind of the blessing in disguise of this whole COVID stuff is the fact that you get a guy like Joe that really stepped up and has proven that maybe he could be a guy, maybe not this year, but down the road, he looks like he is a rotational NBA player.
Absolutely, and he did it last night. I mean, how many guys did he play last night? I think he played the whole roster outside of Seth, whoever else was missing. Like everybody, he wasn't lying about it when he said it. I heard that. I heard you ask him that question and him say that. I feel like the next night he ran out the whole roster, and I think it's a positive thing because right now, why not? Because you don't know who throughout the year is going to have to sit down either for injury or COVID reasons, and if you can get guys some run, especially young guys like Maxey, Joe, etc. You get some of these guys some run, it's only going to be beneficial for you in the long term.
Yeah, 100%. And you see what Maxey, that Denver game, like, yeah, of course, the situation was awful, but he scored 39 points in an NBA game. I don't care the circumstance. That's impressive. And he did it pretty efficiently, and he did it with not a lot of talent around him. So to be able to do that, like that's not an easy thing. And what Doc Rivers said after the game was what he loved about that performance was Maxey it wasn't like he was just chucking up shots. He was playing within the offense. He was making things happen on his own. He wasn't just throwing up crazy wild shots. They were good looks. And he, again, shot over 50% from the field. The only knock I really have on Maxey, and it's like nitpicking, is that I wish he got to the line a little bit more, which maybe as he gets older and gets a little bit physically stronger, he'll be able to do that more. But man, if anyone's been following along with me, man, I love this kid's game. And that's been, for me, one of the few benefits is seeing how good he has been and how he's developed. And I think at this point, Isaiah Joe is kind of on the outside looking in, but Maxey's in. Like, he has to be in. He has to play. The skill set he has, like, to be able to create off the dribble is just something they don't possess, and they haven't possessed in years. So I think Maxey has to be a part of this thing going forward.
Such an important pick right there. I mean, such a steal. I mean, of a pick right there.
Absolutely.
That guy's a lottery pick. We said it that night. I know a lot of people did. Like, how's this guy dropping to 21? Or I don't remember where the hell we picked at this point.
21, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did he pick at 21 too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Poetic justice.
Speaking of Ben Simmons, real quick, the last one I have for you is: it seems like when Doc talks about him that he really wants him to be here. He really doesn't want to trade him unless, I would assume, a wow offer came across where they just couldn't turn down. Do you really buy that? Do you really think that he believes it can work here? Like, because I said it when Doc and Morey came here, is that they came here for a reason. I really feel like they came here because of Ben and Joe and believing that they can win with them. But do you believe that, do you believe it was more Daryl Morey trying to get the price for Harden up in that? Or do you really think the Sixers are looking to move him at all?
So I think you nailed it when you said, like, there's a reason why Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey came here. Like, they didn't come here for Tobias Harris. They came here because you already had Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. You had two all-stars just entering their prime. That's why those guys came here. I think the only reason you saw Ben Simmons' name out there is because you had one of the greatest offensive players who ever played basketball hit the market, a former MVP. So that's the only reason that Ben Simmons' name comes up. Now, if it's a Bradley Beal, does it come up there? Maybe. But like, that's it. Like, it's got to be, to me at least, from what I understand, it's got to be upper echelon, upper tier, superstar level player if you're even going to entertain Ben Simmons being moved. I do think that Doc Rivers likes him. I think he likes him a lot. And that's the one thing I want to stress, because like right off the top, what we talked about was, can they come out of the East being like constructed as they are? And I think one of the things that Daryl Morey wants to see and that Doc Rivers wants to see is, let's give this some time. Like, let's see what this looks like now that they are surrounded by shooters. Now that Joel Embiid is really focused and playing out of his mind, playing at an MVP level. Let's see if we can now get the most out of Ben Simmons. And it's not just Doc Rivers. Sam Cassell has worked really closely with Ben Simmons. You see it every game. Sam Cassell is out there with Ben Simmons. He's changed up his shooting routine when he practices and warm-ups a little bit. So I do think this organization, they love Ben Simmons, and they're not eager to trade him by any stretch. They just, again, I think Daryl Morey saw an opportunity to possibly get James Harden, and because of how special he is and because of how good he could have theoretically been with Embiid, and, let's make no mistake, you swap Ben Simmons in this starting lineup for James Harden, they are a title contender. That bottom line, that's just the reality of it. So that's the only reason I think that was even out there. I think there is no sentiment around a team that they are willing, eager, or even really listening for Ben Simmons unless it is upper echelon, unbelievable superstar talent.
You know what that tells everybody out there that's listening? That's a well-run organization, because well-run organizations aren't just going to give up pieces just to give them up and say, you know what? We have to win right now, because that's what gets you in trouble. And that's what sort of got us in trouble 2 years ago when you're talking about Jimmy, Tobias, and everything you gave up to get them to on Reynolds, right? Because you were all in to win right there. And the NBA's tough. You guys know this. It's tough to win without chemistry. And I thought the one positive thing we saw over the first 9 games before everything happened was this team distributed the basketball tremendously, and that's what won the Warriors titles. That's actually helped win the Lakers the title last year. You got to be able to move the basketball. You got to be able to play team basketball and put your egos to the side. And it really looked like over the first 9 games that, man, and I think we're going to get back to that. So I know you said you give us like 10, Ryan. I know you got one more.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'll shoot you one real quick one. So it's kind of a two-parter, but it's an easy one. To me, I look at the backup forward position, kind of the depth there, and I would say, okay, that's the biggest weakness. A, do you agree with that? And two, and you guys know this and especially you, Paulie, from a couple of years ago. My guy is Ersan Ilyasova. Do you see a reuniting with him being a possibility for the third time? Because I know he's sitting at home right now, and I just think, okay, Mike Scott, he's kind of playing the backup four. He's had the knee issues, and he's been kind of inconsistent the last year or two. A, do you agree that's the biggest weakness as far as the team right now? And could we possibly see Ilyasova back?
I would start with the second part, and I would say, with all due respect to Ersan Ilyasova, there's a reason why he's sitting at home right now. Seriously, like if there was a playoff team that thought they could help him, he would probably be on that team right now. So I don't see it, and I just don't think that represents a big enough upgrade from a Mike Scott, who I think, listen, he had a rough year last year. I think he's like slightly, it's gotten to the point where I think maybe he was overrated his first year here, and then now he's probably gone to so far the opposite way that maybe he's a little underrated. Like, he's fine. He's not great. He's fine. You could make the argument, I think, that spot, that backup 4 spot, is the biggest weakness. Could like PJ Tucker be a possibility? Daryl Morey bringing him in from Houston, that would to me represent a significant upgrade over Mike Scott, because I just think PJ Tucker's game, just such a glue guy, and just does all those little dirty things that need to be done, and he can shoot. So I think he would be a great fit. Mike, I guess my biggest concern is still that they lack still shot creation on the perimeter. And it's tough because maybe a guy's out there, a guy I've always loved, and they were sniffing around him this offseason was Patty Mills. I think a guy like that would be a fantastic fit. But then if you do that, you're taking away from Maxi's minutes, and you're probably taking away from Shake Milton's touches. So it's tough because it's time, like what you already touched on, like it's balancing what are we developing and when are we trying to win? And then kind of Maxi and Milton are both still developing, but they're also both kind of helping you win right now too. So do you want to get another guy in here, a veteran like a Patty Mills or even like a Lou Williams? Do you want one of those guys to eat into their minutes and their touches? So it's a balancing act, but I talk about well-run organizations. That like the biggest thing that's happened, the best thing that's happened to the Sixers is Daryl Morey falling into their damn laps, because that guy is just so smart. I think he's the best executive in the league. And so I would say if you're a Sixers fan, trust Daryl Morey that he's going to do the right things on the margins to help this team and improve this team. Could it be a backup four? Possibly. Could it be another shot creator? Possibly. But I think, again, this roster is not what it's going to look like after the trade deadline heading into the playoffs. He's going to make it better.
Yeah, I love that. PJ Tucker, just like I don't know. I got. He can play center too if we need him to.
Talk about a Philly guy too, man. Like he would be perfect in Philadelphia. People would eat him up. People would love him.
And he did. Didn't he run the? Didn't he play the 5 last year for them too?
Sure did at times. Yeah. I wouldn't advise it, but he did it.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we let everybody know where they can find you. We can't thank you enough for jumping on with us for a few minutes and talking some 10-9-8 and. Man, we got a good basketball team no matter what happens.
Yeah, it should be a fun season, man, no matter what happens. But on Twitter, at Paul Hudrick, on Instagram, at Paul Hudrick 3. And then coming in for landings, my podcast, you can see I got a YouTube channel for it. I'm always posting on my Twitter with it. You can get it wherever you download your podcast as well. I got some good guests coming down the pike. I'm really excited for it. A bigger collaboration possibly coming down the pike too. So please look out for that. And man, Tom, and just to say, like, I'm so happy for you guys and the success HUD's having. You guys are kicking ass, and I'm loving it from afar. And keep doing your thing, man.
Appreciate it, brother. Right back at you. We'll talk soon. Can't thank you enough for jumping on. Let's go get one tomorrow night.
Anytime, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Paulie.
Thanks, Paulie.
Thanks, Paul.
Everybody just joining us. It's Paul Hudrick, Sixers Insider, ESPN 97.3, contributor, obviously, for NBC Sports Philadelphia, was a contributor for NBC Sports Philadelphia. They did 2 million layoffs like they did over there. But landing right on his feet, which is awesome, and is like he said, doing a podcast called Coming In for a Landing. A lot of great guests come on there. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. If you're just joining us, we were like Eagles, but then we had to do Sixers because we were going to go 9:30 start. But we're like, well, shit, we're opening Eagles, so we got to give time to talk Eagles. But obviously, there's never enough time to talk Eagles when you're in a shit show like this. So here we are. We don't know what to do with our hands, and we're going to circle back to Eagles, and we're going to get back to some of the points that Paulie was talking about too, because I don't want to miss any of that stuff as well. So we'll circle back to that. But we were doing our top coaching candidates. Good luck with that. I went first. I said Lincoln Riley until Oklahoma starts back up, and it's like a definitely a no. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna hold firm on that. My second guy that I know Ray Ditter is a huge fan of. I respect Ray. I like what Ryan said prior to the show, how you can't win. He knows you can't, your offense won't be successful enough without a number one wideout. That's refreshing to hear, but it's also helps you to be successful offensively when you have that number one wideout, when you have a quarterback playing at a high level, when you have the best slot receiver in the league. Them things also concern me with a hire too, because it's well, how smart are you? I don't know, but I like Brian Daboll. I will say he's my second. There's also not a lot out there. I sort of agree with Frank. I know what he's going to do. He's going to leave. Going to maybe leave Duce off his list. Maybe we'll find out when he goes when he comes up. I actually fully agree with that, but I don't want to take his thunder on that. So I will put Duce Staley third, and I'll tell you why. It's a definition of a retread, in my opinion, and a retread inside your organization. I don't mean a retread in terms of a head coach. Like, I don't want to recycle through my organization. I thought my coaching staff was a failure. Like, we just won 4 games, and you fired the coach because our coaching staff was a failure. That means your whole coaching staff goes. You keep certain guys around. Like, you know, if Stoutland wanted to stay in the NFL, that's the guy you keep on your staff, right? Spoiler alert. Here he goes. It goes with no cards again on us.
No notes.
No notes. So, like,
Chip Kelly on us.
I'll take him back from the draft right now. Where the fuck was I just at now?
Duce Staley.
Yes. Okay. Duce. Thank you, Rye.
Duce is loose.
I know. Like, listen, this is my positive. I think you'd be a tremendous leader of men, right? But I just had a tremendous leader of men in here. So I didn't have the play design, supposedly. That's what everybody told me. And again, I agree with JP. Like, that's the definition of a scapegoat. Come in, be part of a rebuild, bye. I don't know. He'll take the job because he's not going to get a head coaching job. And that's the kind of guy they're going to get here. And that's why I'm disgusted by it. Not disgusted because I don't love Duce Staley. Not disgusted because I don't think he'd be a head coach one day. It's nothing to do with that. It has to do with you just told us the entire coaching staff was a failure. You wouldn't let this guy give coaches inside his staff upgrade them, right? You wouldn't let them, give them higher jobs. Like, you weren't allowed to, but the whole up top part of the organization can. They just give it out all they want. Here you go. Here you go. You can have a raise. You can have a raise. You can have a new job. You can have a new title. But coaching staff, you weren't allowed to do that. It's a fucking disconnect. That it's terrible. So yes, if you had a gun to my head, you put a freaking hypothetical. Never put a hypothetical gun to your therapist's head. But if you did right now, I would tell you it's going to be Duce Staley, and I'm not freaking happy about it. Not because I don't like Duce, because his organization is a joke. They're the definition of the Flyers for 20 plus years. Flyers are out of it now. Why? Because they went outside the damn organization finally. Shit. Like, you just said everybody failed, but my general manager and Duce. What? If he's your assistant head coach, which is what his title is, he just failed with Doug.
It's like, how are you going to?
It's like the president and the vice president. If the president fails and doesn't get reelected, does the vice president get reelected?
Exactly. How are you going to fire?
I'm just like, that's been generational. It's not just, we're not talking the last 40 years, people. Everybody calm down. Everybody's wound up. I'm talking the history of that. Like, you know what I mean? That's how that works. That's how it should work in the NFL. Like, dude, what is going on? What is going on? They're my candidates. Fuck all of them besides maybe Lincoln. And I don't know. I don't know where we're going. I'm in a deep state of depression. All right. I'm in a deep state of emotional depression because this organization was the number one organization in this city. I could make a case a year ago, maybe a year ago, I can make that case. Maybe. But right there, and this quickly, they're fourth, and if the Phillies signed JT this week, they're absolutely fourth.
It's true. Yep, it's true. No, I mean, it's tough for me because, I'll give the coaches I want because the funny thing is I have more coaches that I don't want on my list than coaches I want, which shows how great a situation we are in, that I have more to say about the people that I'm afraid they're going to get, as opposed to the guys that I think we can actually get. My number one, Tom alluded to it. My number one's Brian Daboll, not because I dislike Lincoln Riley, not because I dislike Eric Bieniemy, not because I dislike any of the other ones. Number one, as I said at the top of the show, if anyone missed it, I don't think Eric Bieniemy's coming here because he's not going to be interviewed until apparently late next week. I don't know why he would come here. They just went to the Andy Reid tree, and Doug Pederson used to work with Bieniemy. Why would Pederson say good things to Bieniemy about coming here? Why? And then aside from that, why would Bieniemy want to come here instead of the Texans job or the Chargers job or take a year off or just stay? Like, I honestly,
where you're at. Like,
I'd rather stay with Andy. Stay with friggin' Andy and Mahomes.
Dude,
I forgot.
I mean, listen, you get 6-7 rings over there. Where do you want to run?
You're calling the offense anyway. You're getting 99% of the credit along with Andy anyway.
I'll wait for Andy to retire too. I'll just take over Mahomes.
Yes. Yeah. So, God, I would rather stay in Kansas City than come here. And I don't care what the pay raise is, because listen, I understand it's a lot more money to be a head coach than a coordinator. It's not friggin' worth it when you're dealing with these two idiots in Philadelphia. It's not. It's not. Eagles secretly met with Lincoln, inside sources. Well, hey, maybe Lincoln will be one now. Maybe I'll put Lincoln one now if that's true, because I would love that for obvious reasons. We've talked about it.
Until he rips the check up, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Until he's like, they slide the check across, right? Like, you know what I mean? And he goes, and slides it back. He's won to me. Until that's.
Well, until that, Jeffrey Lurie says to him, like in a closed door meeting, Jalen Hurts is the future. He's your guy. Like, until he says that, you know what I'm saying? Until he says, like, hey, Jalen Hurts is going to be here. This is your guy. Then that's it. But the reason why Daboll is my number one, like we talk about, I love what he said, and this is just words, but so we'll get to more meaningful things. But when they got Stephon Diggs, he was the guy that was obviously in charge of their offense. I understand he wasn't the head coach, but their head coach is defensive-minded, Sean McDermott. So everything you saw with Josh Allen, everything you saw with the misdirection on offense, numerous ways to attack an offense and a defense, that's Brian Daboll. And I think we all agree from the start of Josh Allen's career, we always kind of compared him in a way to Carson Wentz. Now, Josh Allen looks way better than Carson Wentz right now. Hell, he might have had a better season this year than Carson Wentz had in 2017. And as crazy as that is to say, it's the truth, because they're both MVP caliber seasons in their own right. But I think a big part of that is Brian Daboll. And you have a situation where he talks about really valuing an offense with a number one wide receiver. Without Doug Pederson in the room now, you get away from that, what I call a stupid, two tight end offense, because as we saw, it sounded great in the press, the conferences, like, oh, having Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz and a two-headed monster. We never really saw it, and B, when we saw it, it didn't work. So, and you really look around the NFL, the only teams that really do the two tight end offense now are teams that they don't have a true number one or number two wide receiver. Like, that's why the Ravens do it. That's why they have 15 tight ends, because they don't really have a lockdown wide receiver. So if
they run the ball,
and they run the hell out of the ball too.
So we know, but we had a two tight end set. We don't run the ball, but the Ravens have a two tight end set and they run the ball.
And they have a quarterback that can really only run for the most part. You know what I'm saying? And kind of throws a little flow.
Have Marquise Brown block for him.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Talk to this person real quick, Philly sports passion, because I got to say this before it gets too far away from it. Sure. Philly sports passion 85. 3 years ago, Howie was the best GM executive, and now he's the worst. And I don't know if you're being sarcastic or like he's the worst now. But what I'll say to you is his track record over the last 3 years has made it the way. Mm-hmm. He didn't retool a roster. He didn't do his job. It's like you can't, like, we be Cowboys fans just constantly praise guys for what they did in the past. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, you have to be, you're allowed to be criticized. I'm not saying you're not criticizing. It's hard for me to assume through text on like the way somebody's saying something. You know what I mean? But he I was a guy that considered him a hero in 2017. Rightfully so. And even in 2018. But every year after that, he's failed on the draft. He's failed this organization. He's failed his quarterback. He failed the head coach. He failed the roster. So he failed his owner, but it kisses his goddamn ass. So, I don't know what we're supposed to say. Like, we're supposed to say, well, you know what? He stay forever. Yeah, you know what? Instead of living at home, wherever you live, hell, just move your bags in and no care. You never gotta go. Like, we can't act like that. That's what the Cowboys did. That's why I never ever pressed Jerry Jones. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. All right? But we can't live that long in the past with it. Because if we are, then why isn't Doug still here then? We should be all up in arms then. If we're living in 2017.
Yeah, it's true.
Frustrating.
I'll bring up a good
times. Frustrating.
But Daboll's my guess. Go ahead. What was that, Pete?
I said, because we're talking about how he's passed and his messed up drafts. If we have the Saints draft in 2017, are we still in this hole?
Yeah, I mean, you could. I mean, if we had anybody,
you could say that about anybody.
If we had anybody else's draft, I'll take the friggin'. what's a bad team? Detroit. I'll take Detroit's freaking draft. I don't even know who they drafted, but it's probably better than what we did. You know what I'm saying? Like I literally have no idea who they drafted in 2017, but I would be comfortable in saying it was better than now.
It's nothing but like Pro Bowlers, like Kamara and that cornerback they drafted. Who's
Marshawn Lattimore?
Yes, yep. Marshawn Lattimore and a few other like studs.
I would blow somebody for Marshawn Lattimore. Like literally line guys up behind a dumpster in an alley.
I'll take freaking Patrick Robinson back.
And I'll take some facials for Marshawn Lattimore. Like for the people. You know what I mean? This is how big. It's always about the people. Not about me. Take some facial. Patrick Robinson, we haven't been our secondary hasn't been good since he left. I'm not saying we were that good when he was here, but like
at least we had interceptions, Tom.
Everywhere he goes, everywhere he's gone, the defense has gotten better since he left here. Think about it. Think about it. Everywhere he's gone. Everywhere he's had a little stop by. Saints defense, what, number 1 in the league?
It's pretty damn good. I think it's top 3.
Corner. Yeah. Nickel Roby Coleman, I thought, could cover the world because he was a slot guy. He can't cover me. So
I think he was secretly a mole for the Rams.
Rams got fucking better after he left. Can you believe it? Like they got better. They were already good. Oh, see it. We got rid of this crumb who can't even catch a ball with his freaking face mask.
They made more pay. The Rams made more freaking pay cuts than they did signings, and they somehow got better.
Yep,
it's freaking ridiculous.
You're also just joining us. We're like almost at 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're just joining us and you're over on the YouTube side of things, which I know a lot of you guys are, give a little subscribe.
5 away.
5 away.
Looking at the live tracker right now.
Get it done, baby.
Jesse, it's for the people. No, obviously, I'm kidding. I'm not blowing dudes behind dumpsters. We've grown over to you.
Pucker up.
But yeah, God, Frank. I'll just go with my top 3 real quick. Like I said, Daboll's my number 1 guy. I think he's the best offensive mind realistically out there right now. Number 2, I'm going Lincoln Riley. Number 3, I'll go back. Name that hasn't really been mentioned at all this season, and probably just because his team's still in the playoffs. I'm going back to Greg Roman, offensive coordinator, Ravens.
That was my other one too. Yep.
Because again, I commend him, and you know, Harbaugh was a big thing, but the way they were able to readjust their offense from friggin' Flacco to Lamar and make it work, you're not in love with it? You're not in love with it?
No, because that's a really good defense, and he didn't have to adjust anything. It's RPO, run the fuck around, like not taking a shot at you, like
Colin Kaepernick offense.
It's like, what do I have to readjust? I gotta put a ball either in the belly or let this dude run the fuck around and be a highlight film. Like, really, if you think about it, like, not a shot at him because he's been around for a long time. But I'm just saying, like, it's actually easier to go that direction than it would be to try to get an offense around a statue like Flacco. You know what I mean?
Well, and the other thing, too, is that I would like to see what he can do, because I have to put Jalen Hurts in this discussion because he's part of it. But I kind of want to see what he does with Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts, I think, could have – I mean, he's not Lamar Jackson, but he can run – really, really well, and I think he has a better arm than Lamar Jackson, to where if he can do what he did with Lamar, and then improve Jalen Hurts' game a little bit.
Who's got better arm? Jalen does?
Than Lamar Jackson?
No, he doesn't.
I think he does. Really?
No, Lamar Jackson's not accurate. He's got a freaking cannon. He just doesn't know where the fuck he's throwing it. You know what I mean? Jalen's probably more accurate of a thrower with less on it. Like Lamar can rip it. He just
No, I just think he's just a better thrower of the ball. Maybe not. I guess better arm is not the right way because that's saying strong. But no, I just think he has a better.
He's probably more accurate, but that's not saying much when the other guy's freaking.
He's king floater. He just floats. You know what I'm saying?
Lamar. The crazy thing about Lamar is Lamar has the arm strength to make every throw. He just doesn't have the read and the instincts to make the throw. Like he can make the 15-yard out throw on a dime if he wanted to. But there's a reason why they never throw the ball outside the numbers a lot. Everything's up the middle of the field. Everything's to their tight ends because they don't trust his instincts to make that throw. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, listen, Greg Roman is changing offense around. Kudos. Their defense has been good the whole time. And they got a damn good running back, and they got a quarterback that, like we talked about it. It makes every offense look smarter when we quarterback can go rush for 120 yards. It just breaks down defenses. But, listen. At this point, nothing's a fucking bad name because they're all fucking bad names.
Well, I'll give it 4 bad names, actually. 4. And all these have been named to me numerous times. I'll keep the one out. Ryan Day, I don't really care that much about it. I'll just
No,
JP,
No
JP,
thanks with Ryan Day.
pay attention. I love you. Pay attention. It's a fair
no,
price
Ohio State,
at the end of the show, and everybody's getting 5 minutes. All right? We're not at the end of the show
JP,
yet.
that's not a good way to get through the freaking Golden Gate, my brother. It's not a good way to get entry. I'm just telling you.
He's going to find his way. If people can storm the Capitol, he can get into the stream. So.
By the way, I'm starting to think that maybe I could steal the Declaration of Independence. I'm just saying.
What has happened? What has happened here?
Ryan, I see why
JP.
you would think Greg Roman, and I like Greg Roman to a degree, but my issue with him is the same issue I have with him now is the same issue I had when he was coaching Kaepernick, to where he'll have this surefire high to an offense for a few years, and then people catch on to it, and then it just goes straight to shit. Like he and the same thing's happening with Lamar. They're starting to adjust to it, and they're making some changes here and there, but it's just the same shit. Like RPOs, running quarterbacks, screens, like good run game, like, and that's great and all, but it always is stopped. If you can stop the running quarterback, the offense is shit. And it's the same thing with Lamar Jackson as it was with Colin Kaepernick. If you can keep him in the pocket and you can stuff him and make sure he is not on the run, going for like a fucking 85-yard rushing touchdown, they're basic.
No, that's fair. But like I said, Pete, my 3 guys are guys that I actually think would come here. So like I said,
okay, all right, I'll give you that. Like
I don't have Joe Brady in here,
I'm not bashing, bro.
No, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. And like I said, Greg Roman, he's definitely not a perfect candidate. But if I was just going with like dream scenarios, I would have Joe Brady in here, but I don't think he's coming here. I would have Eric Bieniemy in here.
Don't do that to me, man.
What, Joe Brady?
Dude, you're telling me that my boyfriend is breaking up with me, and I'm kind of not cool with that. Like, I got a lot of shit going on. You can't be telling me Joe's dumping me.
I just don't think. Why would he come here for Howie? Why would he come here?
I don't know. Why?
It's not working. My top. I'll go through it real quick. The top 3 names I don't want, but keep being mentioned to me. Number 1, Jason Garrett. No, people. I don't know. If people
no.
Yeah, like I don't know why people keep telling me, "Hey, they're gonna go after Jason Garrett." Hey, what about Jason Garrett?
Jump off the Golden Gate Bridge.
No, and it's not even because he's the former Dallas Cowboys head coach. I don't want him because he's Jason friggin' Garrett.
I'll take Jason Garrett over these names.
Over who?
You guys think I'm fucking nuts. I'll take Jason Garrett over these names because at least I know he's been a head coach. He's got to deal with Jerry. If you can deal with Jerry, you can deal with anybody. That's not a win for me either. They're all shit. I'll take Jason Garrett over Kellen Moore.
Oh well, God!
Yeah.
But you're taking Jason
Kellen
Garrett
Moore
over.
Is like put up creative offenses. Like
has he? Pete, he's got though. Are you fucking kidding me, Pete? Look who he's got though. Look who he's got. He's got fucking Zeke. He had Dak. He had freaking Amari. He had Gallup. He had CD.
So did Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett.
No, I understand what Jason Garrett had, but I'm saying that at least he's been a head coach. That's all my point was. Like, I'll take a chance on a guy who's been a head coach that can maybe get it right his second time around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And can learn something than an unknown like Kellen Moore. That's all.
You wouldn't take him over You wouldn't take him over Daboll, though, right?
No.
Okay, we're fine.
In that situation, I'd rather take the chance then. You know what I mean? Like,
as a lifetime,
the unknown can be better than the known. I don't know,
Right.
But
I
think Jason's creative.
Football team every Sunday.
And like, I think Jason's creative, and I think he did wonders for Dak. Right? Like, I have to give him credit for that because Dak wasn't as good of a pocket passer as he's become. And part of that credit goes to Jason Garrett as their coach. You know what I mean? So that's the only reason I'm like, okay, I can, and I guess you can make the same case for Kellen Moore too in that. But like, I want a QB whisperer. Like, Doug was a former quarterback and he did wonders for Carson early on, right? Frank Reich was a former quarterback, did wonders for Carson early on. Like, I know I'm fucking nuts, but like, I almost want a former quarterback, and I don't want Cowboys, but I can't like. I can make Jason Garrett like a Cowboy. He's always a Cowboy. But like Kellen Moore, like, hasn't always been a Cowboy. You know what I mean? So it's tough. Like, there's a fine line, but like either one of them hired, it's the same. Like, to me, anything that's hired, right, is I'm gonna be like, meh, and then I'm gonna like try to look for positives, right? Like we are gonna do. Like, okay, like, can you pick my quarterback? Like, I don't. This is a train wreck because like there's no sexy name left. Like Joe Brady's not sexy. I know Pete loves him, but he's not sexy. I know Jake loves him, but he's not
I
sexy.
do love him. Yeah.
He's not sexy. He's not like you're gonna go strip teasing for him. Like he's not sexy.
Well, I'll add to that. I'll add that.
You disagree, Frank? Is he sexy, Frank? I saw your the look.
It's just how you worded it was like, okay.
He's too sexy to his shirt.
Things got said. Things are said.
My number 2.
I feel no shame.
My number 2. I do not want list. Mike Capta.
Well, why don't we finish these idiots with their list before you go to your no one?
Shoot.
Every name. We're gonna name every name out there, and he's getting.
Oh, I hope they don't name any of these guys. I hope they don't name any of these people.
I mean,
I'd kill myself.
I mean, when in Rome, you know
Right.
Then let's go to another country.
When Rome does what Greg Roman does, so well
Yeah.
done.
No.
Frank,
Y'all are
it's on
gonna
your
push
list,
me
Frank.
over the ledge.
Oh,
Well
Lord.
worded, sir. Well worded. We need.
Man, put me in the deep end.
By the way, 4,000 subs on YouTube. Thank you, everybody. Couldn't have done it without you. We asked the people do. Look at that. Hey, look at, little favor, everybody. People helping people. Let's fucking go. All right.
Frank.
All right. So with my list, now Tom alluded to it a while ago. I do not include Duce in my list only because
Beautiful bastard.
is that if any of these guys get hired on my list, I assume Duce will get the offensive coordinator position.
By the way,
it's
that's a compliment. Keep going.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Oh. You know what I mean? Where my dogs at? Oh. That's a compliment. I think the fucking DMX is a compliment. Sorry, Frank. When DMX gets chimed in, you gotta respond.
But you know, it's long overdue for Duce to be the offensive coordinator. I wanted him to be the offensive coordinator over Mike Rowe after Frank Reich left. So I think if he is not the head coach, I expect him to be the offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
So the 3 guys that I want, I'm gonna list Joe Brady as one of them. I know, he's been in the league for 1 year, but a lot of people are raving on this offensive scheme that he's putting out there. Now, I wish there was a little bit more to see what we could get out of a very healthy Carolina Panthers. Let's see what he could do with a healthy Teddy Bridgewater, what he could do with a healthy Christian McCaffrey this season.
Let me down.
I wanted to see more of it. That's why he's a little bit low on my list. I like the idea. He's a young guy, maybe something we could have for a few years to come. But for me, I have Joe Brady at 3. Number 2, I'm going to go with the enemy of Bieniemy is my friend Eric Bieniemy as my second coach on my list. This is another popular head coaching hire. Yes, I know he is from the Andy tree, and I know people don't want guys from the Andy tree go outside the box. But I want to give this guy a look. I wanted this guy as a possible offensive coordinator. I mean, he helped develop that Chiefs offense to where it's at right now, being one of the best in the league. And my number 1, I'm going to question.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you really think he would come here, Frank? If you do, God bless you. I mean,
I
More power
like
to you, Frank.
I like the idea, but as I said, I have him at 2. I'm not locked on it.
But do you think he'll come here?
I like the prospect, but I think the chances of getting him are a bit low.
Okay.
I think this is funny because we might be the only team ever to not have a head coach. Because I don't think anybody fucking wants to come here.
If we didn't have an offensive coordinator, we might as well go.
Like,
here we go. All coordinators. Here we go.
Tom, that's why I said last Friday we are destined to have, or no, it was on friggin' Monday. We are destined to have Duce Staley and Graham Harrell as the leaders of our offense.
I wouldn't
because it's
hate
so
Graham
friggin'.
Harrell. I wouldn't hate him.
I wouldn't like him either, though.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, I would like the idea of Harrell as a coordinator, but not a head coach.
Yes.
I agree with that. Yes.
And my top one is Brian Daboll. I mean,
Good one.
you know what he did with the Bills. You know what he did with the Bills?
He fixed Josh Allen.
He fixed Josh Allen, and maybe to make this little weird Eagles connection. I know people leading up to the 2018 draft, a lot of people called Josh Allen the Carson Wentz of 2018.
I was going to make that point too. Yeah,
make it happen. Make it happen. Get Brian Daboll, please, and thank you.
You know what's funny is, and I think we learned this after 2016. The sexy names, though,
doesn't work.
Like it's so weird, though, right? Like every year, like the sexy names that get hired never work. It's always it's so strange. It's always like the under the radar guys work. It's so weird, right? It's like a guy you're like, this guy. Like people thought when Doug got hired, you know what I mean? Like, not gonna work, and he ended up being the best hire out of all.
Exactly. And I remember Eagles fans prior to hiring Doug, people were raving on Ben freaking McAdoo. Think about that. Imagine this Eagles team with Ben McAdoo, a guy who probably calls the waitresses at Hooters sweetie. Ben freaking McAdoo.
Remember when people were obsessed with Tom Coughlin coming here? That was a fun week.
Mm-hmm. Adam Gase too.
Adam Gase or John Gruden.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, I want a Gruden.
I don't see. I was a dumbass. I wanted Gruden, and I wanted the Browns guy. How am I forgetting his name? Oh, Hugh Jackson. What the fuck?
Oh no.
See, Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson is so awful that having to watch him as a Browns fan, I had to erase him from my mind. 1-31 fucked me up, boys.
Jake, your top three.
I'm just gonna start work from the bottom up. Obviously, number 3 for me, it's Joe Brady. Obviously, you saw what he did with LSU. Obviously, I know everyone's gonna say they were loaded, but when Joe Burrow came from Ohio State,
Joe Burrow was shit.
They absolutely were loaded. They absolutely were loaded.
They were loaded.
But again, it's such a
anything.
small sample size. But I think just he's another young offensive mind. But again, is he going to be another? Oh my God, the name Rams head coach.
McVay?
Yeah, but I've seen people say he's going to be the next Sean McVay. I'm not going that far at all. But I think
he farts, someone's going to get a head coaching job.
Yeah, right. But he's he's a young creative offensive mind that I like to keep an eye on as a possibility.
Yep.
Number 2, like Tom said earlier, it's Tom's number 1, but it's my number 2 just because I'm not sure that he's going to be here. It's Lincoln Riley. I just think that's just one of the big names that's obviously still out there, and I think he's one that can really be one of the guys that could potentially fix Carson. But again, it creates the controversy, right, to where if Lincoln Riley comes here, people will automatically assume that Jalen Hurts is going to be the starter, which again,
I'm not there.
Might not be true. It may be true. Who knows? But my number 1, obviously, Frank and Rye touched on earlier, is Brian Daboll. Obviously, you saw just how much he transformed Josh Allen into the player that he is today. And it's just, to me right now, Brian Daboll's the one who I go for. I have Eric Bieniemy lower on my list, but there's no shot, at least in my opinion, that he comes here. There's no shot at all.
And there's one other thing, because we've talked about the Brian Daboll, Josh Allen, Carson Wentz dynamic, right? Mm-hmm. People think, oh, well, Ryan, you just want him because you want him to fix Carson Wentz. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's important.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, he's getting paid $30-something million a year and $126 million. It's kind of a lot of money.
A little bit, yeah.
Thing. But just aside from that, if we're just taking that, we're putting that to the side, right? Ladies and gentlemen, who he also worked with? Jalen Hurts at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
He worked with him. Mm-hmm. Worked with Nick Saban, and also worked with Belichick. So, see, I'm not just bringing him for Carson. So all the Jalen Hurts people, oh, you're bringing it. No, he actually worked with Jalen Hurts more than they did with Carson Wentz.
It's a good one. I like that.
Pete, your top 3?
This is fun. See, I'll start with who I think is in no way, shape, or form coming here, and you're going to like me for this. Eric Bieniemy is not coming here.
I agree.
He is looking at us, and he's like, no way. Like, he's like, get the fuck out of here. He's not picking up his phone. He's leaving us on red. He is not replying in the DMs. It's just not happening. Doug Pederson has called him up on the first day after he's fired. He's like, whatever you do not go to that fucking organization. Trust me, brother. It's not happening. I agree with Ryan 100% on that one. I like Eric Bieniemy, not a lot, but he's not on my list because I don't think there's any chance in hell that he comes here. Now, I'm getting mad, but number 3, I do say Brian Daboll. I really like Daboll. I think he's a very creative play caller. What he's done with Josh Allen and company is phenomenal. One of my biggest issues with Josh Allen when he was coming out was his arm. I had questions on it, and people would tell me how great he is all the time, and I'd watch highlights, and I'd be like, there's like 95% run plays, and there'd be like 1 or 2 pass plays. Fucking Daboll unloaded him. Like what he was able to do with him is unreal. Like he has turned Josh Allen into a cold-blooded killer, which ironically works because they're covered in like 60 feet of snow. You know, they pay motherfuckers to do that by the hour, please. So I would really enjoy Daboll. I think he could fix Carson Wentz, and like Ryan was saying, he could obviously work with Jalen Hurts due to their history at Alabama. So, you have no idea what's going to happen there. So, yeah, I would obviously enjoy Daboll. Lincoln Riley will be the great white hope. My white whale. I would love him more than anything because, as I was talking about, at one point this year, you had 3 starters in the NFL in consecutive years from Oklahoma. Baker Mayfield, number 1 overall pick. Kyler Murray, number 1 overall pick. Jalen Hurts, 2nd round pick, all starting at one point in the NFL this year. What this guy is able to do with quarterbacks is unreal. Like you can like guys or hate guys. Like you can pick or choose with Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray all you want, but they're fucking studs. Like I'm sorry.
Yep.
What Baker Mayfield just kicked Ben Roethlisberger's ass on national television. He's filming goddamn commercials at Heinz Field. He's their daddy. Like, I'm sorry. That Oklahoma pride sticking that fucking flag right in the middle, baby. That's what I like to see. And Kyler Murray, 2 years ago, people thought he was just going to be a baseball player. Now he's busting up dudes left and right, going for first downs, like fucking running all over people, throwing it to everyone, like fucking lobbing it up to DeAndre Hopkins and Christian Kirk and Larry Legend. Like, come on. And, I'm not the biggest Jalen Hurts guy, but, he developed him. He turned him into a fucking Heisman Trophy candidate last year. Like, I had Jalen Hurts as my Heisman Trophy winner last year. I didn't fucking see Joe Burrow coming out of nowhere. Joe Burrow was Joe Schmo 2 years ago. Nobody was fucking looking at Joe Burrow like, oh man, that's going to be the greatest college season in history college football, No. He fucking transformed those guys. Like, and I think if you could get him in here, he could possibly do that with Carson Wentz or Jalen Hurts or whatever other fucking quarterback he's going to be. Like maybe a Zach Wilson or someone. I don't fucking know. Like, and everyone's like, oh, well, you don't really know if he's going to come here. Remember, we didn't think Chip was coming here. We had Gus Bradley was going to be our head coach until Chip's like, that sanctions here? I'd like that money now. You never know who's going to be in that building until it happens.
And then I'm guessing your number 1 is Joe Brady?
Oh, God, yes, it's Joe Brady. Oof. It is, like G.I. Joe says, go Joe!
There's a question in the comments saying, serious question, why does Eric Bieniemy leave Kansas City at this point? All the jobs are awful situation, including us. I would say I disagree with one thing, and that's the Chargers, because you have somebody who's all day. Yeah, I mean, Justin Herbert, you look at what we had, and you could be like, oh, well, you have Mahomes there. Well, Justin Herbert just broke the Mahomes rookie record.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So what rookie record?
Oh, now it's gone.
Well, no, what rookie record did he break?
The touchdowns.
That wasn't Mahomes' record. That was Baker Mayfield's record.
Well, no? Are you sure? Well, yeah. Then it was yards or something. There was a record that he broke. I'm convinced.
I'm not saying he's not. But if it's the touchdown record, it was Baker's, because when Mahomes came in the league, it was his second year when he dropped 50. By the way, because he played that one useless game in 2017 in Week 17.
Frank, when you find it, let me know. Let me see.
All right, Justin Herbert broke. All right, so with his 380 complete passes, he has the most completions in a rookie season.
Yep, broke Carson Wentz's record.
And he became the youngest player to throw 30 passing touchdowns in a single season, surpassing Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Dan Marino.
That's probably what it was.
Yep.
And I think those are the two so far.
And Frank, did you pull up the current coaching odds for the Eagles?
I did not have the current odds, but I had of all the names listed prior to the hires of Salah and Arthur.
Yeah, but shoot. We'll just take those out. So go.
Okay,
go from most likely, and we'll just do a quick yes no if we approve.
Okay. Then I can finish my Joe Brady thoughts.
So leading up prior to tonight, the current favorite prior to the hiring was Robert Salah at 2-1 odds.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So far the favorite right now is one Mr. Mike Kafka.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean I like Kafka for an offensive coordinator, but he's the definition of a puppet.
Who's 2 and 3?
Kafka was 2. The third one is the greatest Boise State quarterback ever, Mr. Kellen Moore.
Okay, we're looking at the same list.
Nah, I'm good. Or is anyone good? Like I understand, like we said before, I understand they scored a lot of points in Dallas, but that guy's not a leader of men. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. If you want to bring him in to get his perspective of the Cowboys offense to get a little cheat sheet, then cool. Mm-hmm. Do not hire Kellen Moore. Let's not do this.
See, if this was Kellen Moore last year, I would have had him as a candidate for the offensive coordinator.
I agree with that.
But
they suck even with Dak this year.
Exactly. And of course, with the injuries happening in Dallas with Dak, you can't control injuries. No. Kellen Moore's offense, went from top 10 all across the board last year to near bottom of the league.
Mm-hmm. And again, like we were talking about earlier, he had 3, sometimes 4 top receivers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
An all-pro running back, a backup running back that's pretty damn good in Pollard. Mm-hmm. Up until this year, probably the best offensive line in football. And Dak Prescott, to where you could say a lot about him, but he's a top 10 quarterback in the league. So he had a lot to work with. So he'd be coming here with a big question mark at quarterback, a lot of question marks and returning, a lot of question marks with returning offensive linemen. A running back situation that isn't as good as Ezekiel Elliott, and I don't care what people say with Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is not a bell cow, or at least he isn't right now. Right. And you go from a great wide receiving position to no wide receiving position here.
Mm-hmm.
So no way. No. Next, Frank.
All right. Next on the list is Brian Daboll at plus 650 odds.
Yeah, that's sign me up.
And also tied with him is Eric Bieniemy.
Nope.
Yes, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Love to have you.
Hey, man, he wants to come here. More power to him. I just don't see it happen.
No, I just don't see them going down. Like we've touched on multiple shows. I don't see them going down the Andy Reid tree again.
I don't even have a problem with the Andy Reid tree. The Andy Reid tree is successful in the NFL.
It is successful,
my issue, honestly, is I don't want to pull a fucking Flyers thing. What they've been doing, I don't really want to become the Flyers of the last 30 years where we just fucking bring guys who used to be in the fucking organization. I'm not doing that. I'm done with that. It's why I don't give a shit about Duce Staley becoming the head coach, because it's just it just sends an awful message that this is the good old boys club. If you are a part of our organization at one point in time, you'll find a job or we'll take care of you in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. And that pisses me off in so many fucking ways.
Jessica says Dak was the top quarterback above every quarterback in the whole NFL. So come again, watch your mouth.
You're wrong. You're very wrong, Jessica. You're very wrong.
Jessica, was this the Canadian football team? And I didn't watch.
I give a Cowboy a compliment. I say he's top 10, and see people come from my head. No, it's not good enough. He's the best.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't care if you're the homerest homer in the world. Even Skip might be like, huh? Like, come on. Like,
no, he didn't want him and more.
No, really?
No, I'm good.
No,
you're literally
wrong.
You're literally just showing your lack of knowledge of the game and your awful taste in football teams. Come on, like.
Next.
All right, so the next name, Duce Staley at 700 odds.
I'm gonna slit my wrist. I swear to God.
I mean, I don't want it, but again, it wouldn't shock me if they did it. It wouldn't really shock me at all by any stretch.
That's what hurts, is that I just feel like everyone's coming to the consensus that we know where the train is coming. We hope it stops a stop or two early or later, but you know what? I feel like we all know where the destination is headed, and this destination scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, I mean, I would put Duce Staley favorite just because it's the most Eagles thing to do. And again, people are saying, "Hey, oh my God, that means you hate Duce Staley." It's not because we hate Duce Staley. It's because it doesn't change anything.
Right.
Like, honestly, like I like Duce. I like, it's not even like a hatred of him or anything. Like, he's a great guy. It's just like, I feel like it just sends the worst message of, hey man, we got you. Don't worry about it. Like, eventually it's going to be your time. Be like, I hate just the thought of us just giving guys jobs just because they were here at one point in time. Like, if we're going out and we're giving head coaching jobs to guys who were here at one point in time, why not give fucking Seth Joyner a call? Like, at least we'd be fucking running through the wall at 100 miles an hour, you know? I'd see some intensity. Like, I don't know what I'm getting Duce Staley. He's such a soft-spoken guy. I'm like, you got no fucking clue what he's gonna bring to that building. Like, could he be a leader of men? Quite possibly. Could it be a dud? Of course. You have no fucking clue. At least I know if I have a guy like Seth Joyner in there, someone's getting fucking punched in the mouth at the end of the day. And that's one thing this fucking football team has been missing. You know, we're getting punched in the mouth. Ain't nobody doing the punching.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know.
I know.
I think we've been a pretty resilient group over the years, and I think that's credit to this head coach. I mean, I didn't
even want Doug out. No,
I mean, it is what it is, right?
I feel like we're all just pissed off and just fucking emotional at this point, man.
Yeah, and like, I agree with Sam. Like, you know, players are going to want to play for Duce, and that's great, and that's a big part of winning is wanting to play for the guy, but they also wanted to play for Doug too. And maybe this year wore him out. Like, it didn't look like he was the same head coach. I think we all could agree on that, right? And
no,
honestly, I don't want a guy back that's burnt out. I don't want a guy back that isn't all in on it, right? And
the fact that he's wanting to take a year off says everything I need to know about Doug Pederson right now.
Well, it's everything I need to know about his organization and what happened this year and the where it's been since last January or February when he told you all his coaches would be back. Yep. And it was in 24 hours, they were gone. So, I mean, that's the loyalty this organization showed to him at the podium. And I think from that day on, he got worn out. And I think the whole, I'm not blaming anything on COVID, but this whole season was just another part of the wear. Yeah, and that's where we're at now. And the only, we need a change and a different voice, and we needed that up top, and we're not getting it. So hopefully we can get it. Hopefully get it from whoever the next head coach is. But whoever it is, it starts with getting this quarterback right, and then we go from there.
Agreed.
But if he's not right, doesn't matter who the hell the coach is. Biggest genius in the world could be the head coach. Doesn't matter if he's not playing at a high level.
You're calling plays?
Just do the fan calls. Like, let the fans call him, man.
Yeah, right.
Marquise will run the ball if he's still in here, or will run the ball 200 times.
That was, I think the Browns were doing something like that, to where they were doing a charity auction, to where if you won it, you could call in like the first play for their preseason games, and this was before it got canceled. Or the preseason games got canceled. So I'm like, maybe we do something like that for the Eagles, Everyone gets to call their own play.
It's let the players call it. Let the players run the whole
Spider
shit.
2 wide banana.
We'll be like the Nets. Let the players run the team.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I want 15 post-ups, even though I'm 5'7".
It's amazing, right? It's just it truly is. Limit says Cowboys weren't in the playoffs either. I guess he's talking to a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, she was wild, man.
And Anthony Mack says, Jim Schwartz wants a year off too. It says a whole lot.
Well, isn't he like a lot older than Doug? Or
yeah, I mean, it shows you that he was worn out, and for whatever that reason may be.
Philly has that effect on people.
We're kind of I mean, the Andy tree's been good and it's been very successful, but what makes you think that those guys would want to come here after an Andy disciple?
What we did to Doug.
We'll just let go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's like trying to date a girl in the same family after you fucking brutally dumped her cousin or something. Like, that shit's not happening. She's tossing the coffee in your face and telling you to get lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. We all gave her a list out. I don't know when we're gonna find out who our head coach is.
Week 1.
The owner said, it's not a rush. So, I mean, they're gonna go through the whole process, and we'll see who they come out with. It doesn't. Nothing seems positive right now. And boys, maybe a new voice will bring some positivity for a little bit.
Yeah, for a little bit.
But we still have so many question marks with a roster too, right? And so it's like it's not just the coaching staff. It's like, okay, well, what's this roster going to look like? What what I mean? Who's going to be the quarterback here? Blah 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 blah. It's just so many things.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like too, Tom, it's like whoever gets the job, I feel like it's going to be a guy that's here for probably a 2 to 3 years. And then while we're rebuilding and losing games, it's kind of like, all right, done, gone.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Like, you're just here for the rebuild number. And then when we're ready to win, we'll get somebody else in here.
Right.
John, they're meeting with a lot of people and not even virtually. But yeah, in terms of the playoffs, yeah, you got to wait.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the way it is every year. So,
yeah.
And that's why a lot of teams wait. If they have interest in a guy that's in the dance, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if Brian Daboll is the guy they want, then they're gonna wait this out a little bit, and they're gonna interview guys that are done or are out there, etc. Right? So we'll see. We'll see where they go. Figure we can shift into some Sixers talk. I know, obviously we had Paulie on and heard some thoughts about what he thought about just alone the Ben Simmons name being thrown around and in trade offers, and if he really thought that Doc was looking to move him. And I think what he said and what Doc said, I personally think it's extremely true. Like, they're just not going to move him, and I think they want to try to win with it. And I even said last night or the night before, whatever, it might have been Wednesday, that they, if you look at it, it's like, give it a year to see if they can't get the most out of him. And then you can have the conversation. You can have the conversation at the end of next year, right? So, like, have the conversation at the end of this year. So you find out what you can accomplish together. And then you have something to judge it and base it on as an executive, as a head coach, as player personnel guys. You have something to base it on. But to do it in 12 games, I just, I was yelling and screaming.
It's too much.
Like, nobody was more pissed off at Ben Simmons the other night than I was, because that's a night where he's got to come out and be aggressive. And it's a piss poor effort. All right, 2 shots when you're 6'10" and you're that talented, it's unacceptable. You have to shoot the ball 20 times? No. But you got to be aggressive. And guys go through nights, I get it, there's excuses. Unacceptable when you're missing that many people. Just is. Okay, you're getting paid too much money. I want to keep it equal for everybody. So that's the kind of stuff that drives you crazy. But I will say, like I said, when they were 7-2, boys, we had the pom-poms out. So let's wait and see before we rush to judgment. Because if we made that deal with Houston, And I know how Paulie feels. I know how a lot of people feel, right? I don't feel like we're Eastern Conference Finals contenders like everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
Like immediately. Like I don't, because of all the other things that go into it. You're only allowed to have 10-minute meetings, right? All the things that COVID brings protocol-wise to your day-to-day, right? I already showed I got chemistry with what I have. You know what I mean? So wait it out. Next year's probably going to be a better year anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Practices and things like that and off seasons, right, guys? So it's like, for the Nets to do it, let the Nets be the Nets, right? And if they don't win in the next 2 years, that with Harden, they're in trouble. And
they don't win this year. They might
each your own. Now, would I make a deal for Bradley Beal? That's a different conversation. But like right now, I don't even know. Like we get Bradley Beal, and I would be excited. But I'd also know that Ben Simmons and Maxey and guys I like are going too. So like, of course, I'd be excited. But I also know that this team moves the ball extremely well right now, and the way they can shoot it, especially Seth when he comes back, and Isaiah Joe showed you can shoot it a little bit, and Corky can shoot it. Like I believe that this team's going to move the basketball extremely well, and that's going to equal success. But I want your guys' thoughts on not trading Ben and the Simmons deal. Do you think it's the right decision? And I want you to answer the same question I asked Paulie. As constructed right now, can this team can this team come out of the East?
I think after the fact, I was like in the moment, and I know me, Ryan, Frank were talking during that whole process of the possibility of James Harden coming here, and I know we were excited in that whole thing, but then we started seeing more and more details of the potential trade, whatever it was going to be. But then I saw like some involving Maxey, and I'm like, And I think that was kind of to where Daryl Morey even said no. But again, I think what people aren't talking about as well is that I think he kind of left a sour taste in the Rockets' mouth when he just left abruptly and then just came right here. So I feel like that had a part to do with it as well. I think really, Tom, to be honest with you, I think after the trade, after the dust settled, I think it's a blessing in disguise, to be honest with you. You still keep your young players. Ben Simmons is still here. Now, again, it's also ironic after the whole trade fiasco that he hits a triple-double. Just conveniently right after the whole trade situation. But it's just I really like Maxey. I really like a lot of these young guys. And again, can they make the Eastern Conference Finals? I think they can. But will they? I don't think so. I think that unfortunately, I think it's going to be another second-round exit for this team. But again, it's not a bad thing because we have the tools for the future in Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers, and you have all these young guys that you can build around, and including draft picks. And it looks like this draft right now it's been a hit so far. So I can't complain, but I don't think we're going to necessarily – we're built more for the long run. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. We're built more for the long run instead of winning in the next probably 2 years or so. I think we're built more for the long run right now.
Yeah, I think we're built for the short and the long. You know what I mean? I think it's like a combo, but I don't disagree with you. But I also don't think it's a second round exit because that's not taking steps forward. I think this team's way better than in years past. That's why the only thing I disagree with anything you said. And it's not that it's a wrong. Hey, it's fair. I mean, they haven't got past it, so it's not like it's not something that hasn't happened. I think there's a lot of pressure on getting over that hump of just getting out of the second round, but that's the only thing I disagree with you with, but I completely understand it because it's something they haven't done. Right. I just believe this team's so much better if they're all together. Then we'll see how that goes.
And the only reason I say that, Tom, is just because I need to see Ben take that next step in the playoffs because obviously in the regular season he does well, but for whatever reason, once playoff time comes around, he goes quiet.
No, you're right.
I need to see that step from Ben.
That's the question. Is he going to go quiet this year? That's the biggest question of 2021. Frank, what do you say to them coming out of the East and keeping Simmons?
You know what? I'm fine with it. I mentioned it on Wednesday, knowing what it took to give up to get a James Harden trade process. You know what? I'm fine with it. I think we're the real winners of this James Harden trade by not even trading for him. For me, I still have us as an Eastern Conference final contender. I have us going to the ECF. Now with what's been going on with Brooklyn, I still don't think Brooklyn is the team to beat, as I mentioned before. I don't have them high in the East. I have them getting upset in the first round in the NBA playoffs. So for that, I'm glad we didn't make the move. I'm glad we didn't give up the young guys like Matisse and Tyrese and anybody else. I'm fine with it. So I'm just glad we didn't pull the trigger.
Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are. Pete, I know you're a big Simmons guy, but how do you feel about holding on?
Well, you know what they say, Tom. Sometimes the best trade is the trade that does not happen. I think a lot of guys really wanted James Harden. There's nothing to not like about James Harden. He's a phenomenal fucking player. Elite. He's a top 5 to 7 player. Fucking amazing. However, I was not giving up Simmons, Maxey, Daboll, and draft picks. And God knows what else you would have had to give up to get Harden. I think they were probably asking for more than what we would have had to give up. But I'm like, I like Harden a lot, and he probably works really well with Embiid, but it's been fucking 11 games. Like you said, before COVID happened, we were 7-2, and we were fucking rocking. Like, I understand people are a little bit upset at Ben Simmons that he's off to a slow start. He was off to a slow start last year. The first 15 games last year, he's averaging like 12 points per game. Like, he gets going in the middle of the season for large portions of the time. I agree that Doc Rivers is a major component as to why this trade didn't happen. I think if this is later in the season and if this is still the same, it might be a little different. Ben is probably still here, but the conversations probably get way deeper than they were. I don't think we were that deep in conversations with Houston. I think, like Ryan was saying, I think the Houston general manager is still fucking salty about what happened with Daryl Morey. So even if we were trying to have deep discussions with him, he probably told us to hit the bricks. Mm-hmm. I am a big Simmons guy.
Yeah, no, it was probably we're not going to give Harden to the guy who just left us.
Yeah, Fertitta was apparently not willing to do it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was hell-bent on not doing it.
That's what I've heard. Like, I want more from Simmons. Offensively, I like what you said. Was it last show where you said 16, 18 points a game for Simmons?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm in that boat. If he can give me between 14 and 17 a game, I'm cool. So one of my favorite breakdown artists was I can't remember the guy's name. I'll tag him in, agree to disagree later. But he was breaking down the Simmons game from last night. What was it? 10, 12, 11, I think it was.
10, 10, and 11, I think.
Okay, 10, 10, and 11. I think he had 12 assists, but it's okay. So 9 of his 12 assists were 3-pointers. He had 3 steals, and off those 3 steals, 7 points were scored. Overall, his play results in 50 points. Like, sometimes the way you look at Ben Simmons is that even if the points aren't there from him, he's affecting the basket. He's affecting the game one way or another. Like, it's not always going to be the sexiest thing with him. Sometimes it's next level with Ben Simmons. Obviously, you want to see more from him offensively, and I think you could possibly see that by the trade deadline or All-Star break. I think Ben Simmons is probably averaging between 15 and 16 points a game. He's probably got 9 to 10 assists and about 7 to 8 rebounds. And if I can get him over the 10 shots a game and about 65% from the free throw line, I'm fucking happy. And like Paul was saying, all the great young players we have. I was talking with a draft analyst, and he was talking about the guys that we have in Tyrese Maxey and Isaiah Joe. He said in any other draft, Maxey goes, like you've said, 10 to 15. And he had even talked with some people saying that he didn't understand how Isaiah Joe was there at 39. Because I've seen reports to where Daryl Morey was looking at Isaiah Joe at 21, and somehow he's there at fucking 39. Him and Maxey could be an amazing addition to our core for years to come. And I really like our young core, and I think I don't think we're finals contenders this year. I don't even know if we could be finals contenders with James Harden because of all the shit we would have had to give up. But, I really would like to see this core together for more than, 9 games?
Yeah, I think that's unacceptable. I think that's totally unacceptable. If this team isn't an Eastern Conference Finals contender, it's unacceptable. It truly is.
No. I didn't say they weren't an Eastern Conference Finals contender. I said they weren't a finals contender. I don't think we're finals bound this year. I think we could compete for the Eastern Conference Finals this year. I 100% think that's a possibility. But do I think we're going to be able to sneak into the finals and beat the Lakers? No, I do not.
No. It's but my unknown's the player we're talking about. Look, that's why I don't know. If that dude's a little bit aggressive, we should be a finals contender. If he's just like a little bit aggressive, we should be a finals contender. Like, if he expands his game, right, we should be a finals contender. Just expand it a little bit. Last night he shot a 3. That's great. I don't give a fuck if you shoot. I don't need you shooting 10 of them because I don't want you doing that, right? Because I'd rather you distribute. I don't want you to be selfish.
One game for me. That's where I stand.
But I like you jacking it. I like you taking it once in a while when it's open because that's the only way teams are gonna, like Miami Heat just clogged the lane against them in game 1. Of the back-to-back, and they didn't let him do anything, and he didn't adjust to it. And that's what's discouraging. Adjust. Like, you don't, like, game to game, you have to be a different type of player. You can't be fucking missionary. This is all I do. Like, if they're going to box in the lane and not let you get there, then you got to pull some freaking 18-foot jumpers.
It's
right.
It's tough because you look at it, and you're absolutely right, Tom. That goes right into what I was going to say, to where, are they a top team in the East? Well, what Ben Simmons are we getting tonight? What Ben Simmons are we getting tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? Like, if Ben Simmons does his job, and like we talked about, people think we get on Ben Simmons too much. I think that's ridiculous to say because we don't ask him to shoot, 4 friggin' threes a game. We don't ask him to score 25 points a night. Like Pete said, 14, 18 points, and I'll shut my mouth for the night. I don't care. But when you're not doing that, when you're shooting, when you have more turnovers than shots, you are one of the leaders in the league in turnovers. Yeah, I mean, that's huge. When you look at, for the example, when Embiid isn't playing well or not playing at all, how he doesn't have the ability mentally, not physically. He has any ability he wants physically, but the ability to just say, okay, well, Embiid's having an off night. I need to be the guy. And he doesn't do that. And then I see other guys that don't have the skill set that Simmons does, or the size, or the speed, or the traits and the intangibles, and they go out and do it at a top level. It frustrates the hell out of me. As far as Eastern Conference or Finals contenders, it's really tough because aside from the Simmons thing, and people are you might think I'm crazy with 2 of the teams, but it's just how I feel. There's 4 teams that I am concerned about if we played them. And I understand Embiid matches up well against Milwaukee, and he would really match up well now that Jared Allen's in Cleveland. But I'm just talking about altogether the teams. The 4 teams I'm concerned about in the East. It's Brooklyn for obvious reasons. It's Milwaukee for obvious reasons. It's the Celtics because until we beat them in the playoffs, I'm always going to be concerned about them. And you look at the top 2 stars, not even talking about Kemba, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum, they're special. And like I said, I do think we have an inside edge on them now just because they have Daniel Tice and, their bigs really aren't exciting to me. But the team I'm concerned about, and I think they're the best team that no one's talking about in the NBA, and that's the Indiana Pacers. We've always struggled against them. Now you take away, and I'll tell you right now, I think they got better with Karis LeVert. I think Karis LeVert's a better player than Victor.
Yeah, I got to interrupt you for 1 second.
That's fine.
Like, they're tough, but we play good defense. So they don't. If they want to get into the defensive battle, we beat them because we can outscore them. They're tough knit group. They're tough. I get it. I'm not scared of Indiana like one bit. Like, am I scared of some teams out there? I'm more scared of fucking Miami when they're fully healthy. You understand? Like Miami, who I think Miami fully healthy scares me way more than Indiana fully healthy because Miami can go through spurts where they don't miss. You know what I mean? Like Miami goes through spurts where they're unconscious from 3 and nobody's beating them. You know what I mean? And Boston goes through them same spurts. You know what I mean? The Nets, to your point, right, are going to go through them same spurts. Like they're going to go unconscious where no matter how great the defense you're playing, their offense can be so good we're just going to beat you on a given night, right? Indiana can only beat you one way, right? And they got to hold you. They got to hold you to a number. That's just how Indiana is structured. Now, you can say Levert gives them a little bit more scoring and flexibility in Oladipo at this point of their careers. Okay, but they're just a tough group. So they're going to have to beat you being Pomsy, and there's no way that they're going to be more Pomsy than this group, who has 2 first-team all-defenders on it over a 7-game series. Now, can they beat you? We play them tomorrow night. Can they whoop our ass? Sure, you know what I mean? So it's not a bad name because they're tough. They're fucking gritty. But I think they get exposed over 7 because I don't think they can score enough. That's the only – you're not wrong about them. Like, that's my only knock on them. It's can they what happens if they get into a 120 game? Can they do that? I don't know if they can do that.
The biggest thing, and like I said, I knew when I said that nobody was really going to buy that, and that's okay. Like, listen, I'll say it again. I hope I'm dead wrong about Indiana. I hope that we go in there and we friggin' roll job them.
I know, Rob. I said Houston. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Rob? Lock in. All right, you're over there. You're puffing it up. You're puffing it up, and you know what I mean. You don't even know what I'm talking about. I said Levert was in Indiana. Sorry, Ryan. I had to address Rob.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
He's down the line. He's got to get addressed.
No, you're fine. But no, like I said, to your point, Tom, the thing that makes me still confident if we played them in a 7-game series is that we know what we're capable of as far as a ceiling when you talk about our talent, right? When you talk about Embiid and Simmons and the way Tobias Harris plays sometimes, I don't know what, like, Sabonis is playing on unbelievable. And that's why I'm really afraid of them. It's because they have not one, but they have 2 Sixer killers now, Sabonis and Karis LeVert. And I'm not even talking about Brogdon, who's really good. You know what I'm saying? And you look at Miles Turner. I mean, they have an efficient team. And like you talk about, efficiency sometimes is our biggest weakness, especially because we are 3rd in the league in turnovers. You know what I'm saying? There's only 2 teams that are worse than us in turnovers, and that's Chicago and Miami. So when you run into an efficient team that really doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and you have those Sixer killers that can beat you both ways, that's why I think, if we got in, say we were a 3 seed and they were a 6 seed, would I be concerned that? Say that again?
No, it's tough. The East is a dogfight. The East
they're just sneaky. They're just really friggin' sneaky. You know what I'm saying?
How about this question for you? And some of you guys don't go back to 01 like I do. To really remember that. But like we were really hot and we made a deal for Dikembe. Mm-hmm. And I want to ask you guys a question. Like if this team is rolling, would you rather than just stay status quo this year? Because I would. Like if they're rolling like that 7-2 type stretch and they continue that type of thing together and they're rolling with you guys, would you guys want to see anybody broken up? Because I want it. Because I even felt that way about Theo Ratliff back in the day. Like I know we went and got the Kembe to try to stop Shaq, but we weren't stopping Shaq anyway. So you probably better off being more athletic than them. You know what I mean? And try to beat them that way and run bodies at them. So just curious on your guys' thoughts on that.
It's a great question because, to be honest, I still think there's a trade that's happening, honestly, but I think the trade that's going to be happening is a package deal involving like a Scott, a Furkan, maybe Thibault, guys like that who, the middle part of your bench, I could see going, maybe Tony Bradley to be, to get maybe one more player. Yeah. Maybe some picks, maybe somebody from OKC, like a Trevor Ariza type guy. Like, that's just a name out there. George Hill, even though I say George Hill, but then, you already have, players like that.
I love the name Paulie gave us. That's my favorite name that I've been given because it's the need. Like, we don't need guards. Like, we need that. You've been harping on this. Power forward. So, I mean, PJ Tucker to me is like, that's the name I want. That makes me better. Right, that makes me deeper. That makes me stronger. It makes me tougher. Like if I can get PJ Tucker now, we come back to the same conversation again. He don't want to deal with you on Harden. What makes him want to fucking deal with you on PJ Tucker? Right. So you're running the same situation with Houston again. So when they do business with us is the question. I don't know that answer, but that's under the radar. That really makes this basketball team a lot better.
Yeah, I think they. I think they would, Tom, just because they're in the pick game right now. They're trying to get picks, and if you're like, hey, we'll give you some picks, and maybe a young player in Thibault, you know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to get assets on assets on assets right now.
Mm-hmm.
I love that name. I absolutely do. I might go to the trade machine in a second to see what I would have to do to get him. But when you look around it, Tom, I mean, when you talk about this season, I'm not touching Milton or Maxey.
No,
like going back to the Simmons thing, Tom,
Nothing
like
crazy.
no, like the first
Like I'm not breaking anyone up just yet.
Yeah, like the first 8 guys on your roster, I'm not touching.
It's
like
Scott,
the only guy I might touch.
Is Scott on his last year of his deal?
Yes, I think it's an option, but yes, I think I think it's a team option. So more or less, yes. It's a 1 year.
I saw it interesting.
That's a name Houston would maybe take off your hands.
Yeah.
And it was Buddy. So you're trading for Heald, and you're giving up Furkan, Scott, I think Thibault, and like a couple second round picks. Would you do that trade?
I'll carry him on my friggin' back. I'll carry him on my back.
Say it again, Pete. Say it again. Like, I lost you.
It's Buddy Heald for Mike Scott, Furkan Korkmaz, Matisse Thibault, and 1 or 2 second round picks.
Well, why the fuck would they do it? But yeah, I mean, where do I sign up?
It.
I mean, they're a pretty shittily run organization, so you know.
The name I'll go in the same boat as Pete, but I'll just move to his teammate. I think a realistic move, and I'm not like obviously Nemanja Bjelica, but nobody knows who that is, so I'm not even gonna say.
Of course, if we try to get Bjelica back, he's probably going to ditch us within 24 hours.
Well, hey, but we know why he ditched us. He didn't like Colangelo. It's good. I actually like him more now because he didn't like Colangelo.
Oh, are you talking about the forward that he almost signed here?
Yes. Yeah. He's exactly what.
You know what? That's a good move. I like that. That is a good out of the box thinking. I like that, Ryan.
I would take him in 2 seconds, but the more flashy move, I guess, even though I don't know how we would get the contract up. You might have to put Danny Green in this. Harrison Barnes.
Are you going to De'Aaron Fox?
No, God, no. Harrison Barnes.
Oh man, I would rather. I mean, I know we don't need a guard, but like I'd rather have De'Aaron Fox than Harrison Barnes, and he just.
I'll take De'Aaron, but the only thing is he's on a max. Like they're not moving him. They just maxed him.
Right. What's Harrison averaging right now? What's he shooting from 3? I don't really follow the Kings that much.
I will check for you, kind sir.
I'm not the biggest Harrison Barnes guy, but you know, I'd be interested to see what he's doing.
He got paid a ton of money around the league. Not his fault.
Yes, he did.
Right, not his fault. Thank you, Golden State. But he got paid a ton of money in Dallas. Woo, baby, did he get paid a little bit? Go walking around money.
So I'll give you his points, and then I'll go into his percentages from 3. But right now, he's averaging 17 points a game, 7 rebounds, 3 assists.
Okay.
Let's see. Percentage from 3. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be with you in a second.
Family, we're gonna open up the lines here in a couple.
41%.
Okay, you know what? What's his contract? Is it still like really bad like in the early days of Dallas, or is it like a little bit more manageable these days?
Let me see. He is on a 4-year, $85 million, and he is on the 2nd year of that contract. So we would be picking it up for this year, 2021/2022, and the 2022-2023 season.
Who am I swapping?
Who are we swapping?
I'm trying to figure it out.
It would probably be Danny Green. It would probably be Danny Green and Mike Scott in a pick.
Okay. I'd be tempted, but like I might hold back and I might go with your first option because I kind of like him a little bit more.
Cheaper too, way cheaper.
Yes, it's way cheaper. There's one thing you can say about Morey is that every single motherfucker he brought in, they're all shooting 40% from 3.
Ooh, Colin Gamble with this name, Tom.
Oh, man, that's sexy. Oof.
Ooh. He's never healthy, but I'll take him.
I would love Lauri Markkanen. Ironically, like, when he was coming up in the draft, I had a student, like, just bragging about this kid. And I'm like, what the fuck is Lauri Markkanen? And, oh, God, that kid can play. Would we be moving Tobias to the 3 with that?
Yeah, he would go 3.
Or he's never healthy, and you make his ass come on. You bring him off the bench.
Okay, that's a good one. I would love Lauri Markkanen.
Let him run 22 minutes off the pine.
I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable with our backup bigs other than Dwight Howard, who I love. But we don't have really a 4 that I feel trustworthy in. Like, I mean, everyone likes Mike Scott. I ain't no bitch, but he's whatever. Like, I feel like his knees are going to give out on him on every night, and he's getting overpowered by guys, and his 3-point percentage is shit. So I like the thought of bringing Thaddeus Young back in, but that's just me.
Going Thaddeus, huh?
I mean, usually
I've wanted Thad back the last few years.
I'm usually against like bringing guys back in that were in the organization, period, like around all Philly. But Thad's such like just a worker that like
he just screams perfect fit in this system with the hard work mentality that Glenn Rivers brings to this city.
Glenn, don't call me Doc Rivers.
I know. I feel dirty every time I say Doc, and I have to stop myself.
And to your point, Tom, of putting like a Lauri Markkanen off the bench, his contract, you can do that because he's still on his rookie deal. So it's not like you're saying, oh, you're getting a guy who's getting paid $20 million a year for the bench. He's only getting paid $6 this year, $9 next year.
Yeah, it's not. It's
Chicago is one of the teams that I would like to rate because they suck so bad, and they have a lot of guys on there who I'd be like,
Yeah, Tom's guy's on there, right, Tom?
Who's his guy?
Tom will tell you.
Is it Levine?
That's it. That's his favorite.
See,
I'm fucking doing this tonight.
I have no look. I have nothing against Zach Levine, but
Tom does.
My issues with him are the same issues I have with Bradley Beal. Is that they're ballers, but are they ballers because they're ballers, or are they ballers because they're on a shit fucking team?
Tom would agree.
Well, I agree with Levine. Beal's just a baller.
Yeah.
I mean, he's dropping like 50-something losses. Like, come on.
All right, and he's the first one they can take an accountability, saying that we can't guard a parked car. So I mean,
sure, I will give him that.
Levine,
it's so tough to.
Levine's hollow numbers, man. Levine's just hollow numbers.
And you know what's crazy to say?
It's flashy. It's flashy shit.
I don't eat like I'm a Levine guy. I almost feel like I won't do that move because it takes away from Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
Like
who could maybe be a better player.
Like, I'm not trading Ben Simmons for Zach Levine. Like,
God,
no.
You know, and I probably don't trade Tobias for him. I made that clear. I like Tobias. Tobias is good.
I really like what I'm seeing from Tobias right now.
The only way I'm trading for him, Tom, is if I can get away with trading like Danny Green, Daboll, and a pick. You know what I'm saying? Like just fleece job. That's the only way. And the only reason why I'm giving up Danny Green is because I need somebody to have money.
So sure. Like you're pulling a Hinkie special.
Yeah, because like honestly, like when you have Shake Milton, and this is like when the reason why I asked Paulie, like I know we've been complaining a lot, and justifiably so, but not only the Sixers and the Eagles, but just everything with Philadelphia right now, because it's been bad. But the one thing I'm so excited about, and honestly, I'm excited to watch basketball with the Sixers about, like, forget about Embiid and Simmons and Tobias and all that. These three guys in Shake, in Maxey, and Isaiah Joe, they're so fun to watch. So fun to watch. You know what I mean? Where, like, I look at Tyrese Maxey and Shake Milton. They can score whenever the hell they want.
Shake and Tyrese can get their own. They can create their own shot, right? And that's the big thing this team was missing was other guys to create their own shot. And you know they got a few more of them guys now, and that's why like I'm even more in the position of like, I don't really feel like I need to make a move. I feel like I got some good young talent. I feel like I got good veteran talent. I feel like my special players are more in the middle age wise. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just feel like I'm in a good place. Just look at a good place, boys.
Who is the guy from Golden State we got last year who's on New York? I can't remember his name.
Burks.
I would
Alec
really
Burks.
Alec Burke is a guy I would look at the trade deadline because he's probably doing too many good things in New York, and they're like, wait, we need to fucking suck and tank. And I don't think he'd be too expensive.
But Pete, why would we need him? We have Tyrese and Maxey now. That was Alec Burks last year.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Like, no, if you're telling me to go up and get what the hell is this freaking? I'm blanking on his Julius Randle. If you want to get Julius Randle, then I'll have that conversation.
That would be an interesting pickup. Randle's another guy to where I'd be intrigued.
But no, to your point, Tom, I think we're in a good spot.
I feel like it's just going to be such a fun deadline. I was talking to people on 24/7 about this like a week ago, and I'm like, I'm fucking like got an itchy fucking trigger finger for that deadline because honestly, Daryl Morey put this fucking team together in 5 minutes. What the fuck is he going to do at the deadline? What the fuck is he going to do with a full offseason? Like,
yeah,
honestly, like I'm ready. I'm raring to go to see what the hell this guy's going to pull off because he's crazy.
Chris Dunn says, "Who is left? You are willing to trade Ben Simmons for?" There's only one guy for me. There's only one.
Who?
It's Beal. It's Beal.
Yeah.
And going back to your original question, Tom, with the Ben Simmons thing, I told you before, and I know it's not popular, but if the trade was just Ben Simmons, Daboll, and some picks, I would have made the move. The only reason why I said I'm good with not making the move, it's because of Maxey. And again, I understand Simmons. He's 23, 24 years old. I know we're like 9 games in, but I was just so confident in what the James Harden, Joel Embiid offense could look like, alongside of obviously Tobias and Danny Green, and Seth Curry. And really, we really wouldn't. If we got away with that move, we would still have a hell of a bench because we'd still have Shake, we'd still have Maxey. The only two we would lose are Simmons, which is obviously a big loss, and Daboll. So you'd get a little worse on defense.
See, I don't know if I would have traded Simmons in that scenario. I would have been like thrown up, be like, I'll give you Tobias, I'll give you Danny Green, I'll give you Daboll, and I'll give you some picks. That was my best offer. Like, I might be tempted if it was a Simmons for Harden straight up. I might have been tempted, but I don't know if I would have done the deal. You know what I mean? But thankfully, the deal didn't happen, and I didn't have to be in the fucking room to deal with such a decision. I mean, not an easy decision like that in the situation. You know what I mean?
JP, Terry Rozier, A, is not coming here. B, is drastically overpaid. And 3, no.
Oh, my God. His contract is atrocious.
Yeah, no.
Terry Rozier is exactly what Kemba Walker was there. Overpaid and gets big numbers. That's what you can do on shit teams.
Chris Dunn says Simmons for Beal. Yeah, I mean, I would do that. But again, I don't. The only way that's happening, fam, and like we were saying on Wednesday, I don't think Simmons gets traded at this point, especially for Beal. The only way that happens is if Beal pulls a Harden and he goes to the podium and says, I want out. And then the Wizards aren't going to pair Westbrook and Simmons together.
That would just make zero sense. Like,
you would need to have a Westbrook-Kyrie Irving trade happen where Westbrook goes to the Nets, does the OKC... The OKC East, Kyrie Irving.
It's literally 2012 all over again with.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
They're just older.
Can Kendrick Perkins come out of retirement?
I'm sure he would. He's not very good on the air, so I'm sure he would.
No, oh my God, he's fucking atrocious. Oh my God, I hate watching him. I mean,
so,
it's funny.
If Kyrie Irving ended up going to the Wizards, then maybe you would pull off a Simmons deal, but realistically, it's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if he plays another fucking basketball game again.
Nah, he'll be there tomorrow. Or yes.
You sure about that?
That's what the team says.
I mean, I don't trust them as far as I can throw them.
Oh, I don't trust me. I don't trust him either.
Like, can I bring up an Irving point for like 2 seconds?
Shoot.
Like, his whole thing during the lockdown and everything is I can't play basketball anymore because of all the injustice that's going on. Has anything, like, And that was his argument. It was like, has anything like changed? Like, I just don't feel like he just keeps coming up with excuses to not want to play basketball. Like he does a lot of charitable things, and they're wonderful. Like, he is a great guy in terms of what he does off the court. But if he doesn't want to play basketball, like, why is he like forcing himself to do this? Because it seems at this point it's just not something he's passionate about, which is fine. He's even talked about like wanting to retire early. That's also fine. If your heart's not in it, just don't bother anymore, bro. Like, come on, like
Pete, you want me to sum it up perfectly for you on what's going on with Kyrie?
Is it money?
No, he's just an idiot.
Yeah. Oh, okay, thank you.
No, he's an idiot.
I was hesitant to phrase the question because I don't want people to like, oh, you're being insensitive about Kyrie Irving's feelings on the racial inequality. I'm like, I'm not. I 100% had no issue with him saying we shouldn't play basketball because of everything that was going on with George Floyd and things like that. However, then 2 seconds later, he's like, we should form our own league. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're shooting yourself in the foot to bite your face off. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, like
he'll have a great point, and then he'll like say 3 dumb as fuck things, and then be like, why is the media always misquoting me? Nobody's misquoting you, bro. You're literally going on podcasts saying you don't need a fucking head coach, and you want to post up 5 times a game or 15 times a game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I'll make it real simple, and then we'll get back to the Sixers. It's
awesome.
Real simple. You look at it. I understand there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but dude, go to work. Go to friggin' work.
Yep.
Go to work. Everyone sees what's going on. Go to friggin' work. Your job is to play. Go friggin' play.
Thank you for letting me touch on this. It's been bugging me for 3 fucking weeks. I wasn't sure if I wanted to bring it up or not, but I figured, fuck it, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah, and Pop says better for us let him give Brooklyn headaches, and that's true.
Yep, absolutely.
And then you got the fucking reports out that like he don't like Steve Nash. I'm just like, that is if you want to add Harden in there too with like you have 2 guys who are like obsessed with the ball. Like, have fun with that. More power to you, Brooklyn. Less headaches for us.
Chrome says Westbrook and Simmons make no sense. 2 guys who need the ball in their hands to create offense. 2 ball dominant. I pulled Ben to DC in a red wagon on foot if we can get Beal. That's my son. No, I mean, listen, if the Wizards want to make that move and make the mistake of doing that, then I'll let them. I'll
absolutely.
Be like, hey, if you want to continue to not win basketball games, have any note, then please do this.
Ryan, I got one for you.
Shoot.
Like, if the Wizards call me up and said, we'll give you you give us Ben Simmons, we'll take, and you get Bradley Beal and David Bertans. And as much as I love Ben Simmons, I might be tempted to do that deal.
I'll do that friggin' 100 times over.
Oh, it's not even a question.
Oh my God. The only issue is I don't think the money matches up because of how much Bertans is making.
Can we throw in like Danny Green and Mike Scott?
I'll put in Mike Scott too. Frank, go to the machine. Frank, trade machine. Frank, the machine.
Away. What do you need?
Give me a Wizards trade involving
David Bertans and Bradley Beal.
Yeah,
Bertans and Beal. Let me launch it. Let's fire it up.
I've created a monster.
It's a little bit cold right now. So you said the Wizards.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And who are we trading with?
Frank, can you share your screen? I just want to.
Absolutely.
I just want to see. This.
All right. Let me clear my browsing history real quick.
It's probably best for everybody.
It's for the best. It's for the best, yeah.
Do I even want to know?
So
nope,
so who's the other team we're with?
The Sixers.
Okay.
Do we have another team?
Sixers podcast, Frank.
Hey, no, we are a pro Cavaliers team here.
Yeah. No, we're looking for the bright future of the Sacramento Kings, Frank.
Excuse me, we're Team Sexland here.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna touch on the Buffalo Braves, but I didn't.
I see. I see.
All right, so
go Generals.
Okay, do Beal and Bertans.
Beal. Oh boy. All right.
And then put Ben Simmons in there, and then how much money do we have to create? Or is that enough money? Do the contracts match?
Let's see. The contracts do not match.
Okay, how much do we have to add?
About 13.2 million.
Bye, Danny.
So
Yeah, right. Later.
Danny
Maybe throw in Mike Scott just for good measure.
The Hive. All right. Any picks?
No.
No. All right. That's not where I need to go. It goes up here.
Soul Exchange says, anyone else feel like Ben does not care about basketball? I won't go that far.
No, I won't go there.
That's too far.
I won't go there.
But I do think
he doesn't care about basketball. He's not staying after games and like fucking shooting with Sam Cassell and Dwight Howard. Like he just didn't give a shit. Like he was just phoning it in. Like
I'm not putting much stock into him shooting after games or before games anymore. I'm not putting any stock into it.
Nope. Frank, it didn't work.
It did not work.
Why? What's
it was salary and players, I think, Frank, right?
It was salary, yep. Because of Mr. Berton's bird rights. He was signed using his bird rights with a 20% raise in salary, and the Wizards are over the cap. He'll be eligible to be traded after February 20th, 2021.
Okay, so
and he was also recently signed. So
so if that happened in a month, then it would work.
Probably yes.
Well, yeah, because it would be after that date. It would be after the date.
Yeah.
So it worked.
Let's see here. Somebody saying do Ben Simmons, Matisse in a first or what for Beal?
That's too much.
Yeah, I don't even go to it. It's too much. I would do that. I just don't know why they would do it. Let me see here. A lot of people talking about Kyrie Irving. Let's see. Chris Johnson Simmons for Beal. Jacob Bloss says at this point, I don't think we should trade Simmons. We should try and find the third star to fit with Simmons and Embiid. Well, the funny thing is, Jacob,
he's already here.
I was going to say we are hoping it's Tobias Harris.
No, it's not Tobias Harris.
Tyrese Maxey?
Tyrese Maxey, in my honest opinion. I'll go bold. You can make an argument this year. Tobias is the third star. I think Tyrese Maxey is going to be what Markelle Fultz was supposed to be for us.
Oh, I think that's already. Oh, I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Listen,
the
somebody told me
thing about Maxey and Fultz is they're going to be connected for the rest of their careers.
Somebody told me earlier that he thinks that Tyrese Maxey's next contract he signed is going to be a max contract.
That's quite possible.
Just think about that.
I mean, yeah, it's possible with the way he's trending upward. Yeah, sure.
Can you like honestly, the craziest thing is that you basically got a guy at 21 who many predicted between 9 and 15, and then you got a guy in Isaiah Joe who many believed was going to be there in the 20s.
Yeah,
that's just unreal.
Yep.
And I wanted to talk about this with Paul. We just didn't have time. If this is a non-COVID world, are either of these guys on our basketball team? And I don't think so.
Pop, I agree with Pop. He says right now it's Harris. Stop it. He's playing. I think what Pete's saying is like future. I think he's projecting. You know what I'm saying?
I love Tobias. And I even said right now, Tobias Harris is your third star. However, moving forward, that could be Tyrese Maxey. The kid is a baller. I'd like to see, like Paul was saying, a little bit more free throw shooting from him and a little bit more defense with him. But, he's a stud. Like, I'm sorry. Like, he's unreal. Like, the fact that you were able to get him at 21 and he's giving you as much production as the number one overall pick is giving you. Or the number one overall pick is giving what was it? The Timberwolves. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Timberwolves. It's unreal.
Tom, I'll give you because I don't know if you heard it. An agree or disagree question because somebody said this to me earlier. The next contract Tyrese Maxey signs will be a max contract.
Everybody gets maxes.
I was just going to say, De'Aaron Fox got a max. And I don't think he's a world beater.
It might be the only way you don't lose a guy, but.
And to Levi's point, it would work because that's the end of the Tobias deal.
Mm-hmm. It's a good point. It's a great point.
Well, can't you keep your own anyway?
You can offer him the most money.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you can be over the cap as long, for your own players.
I believe so.
Like that are on your roster.
Is that correct?
We have the bird rights for him.
Yeah, bird rights. There you go.
I'm not going to say a max. No, because I think probably a lot of guys said yeah. So I'll just disagree that he doesn't. Then I'll disagree that he doesn't get a max, but he gets some hefty money. You know what I mean? Yeah. Man, it's going to be a max. Is a lot.
Oh,
that's a lot. Like, I feel like he's got to be like 24. It's got to be like a lot for a max. So I'll say right underneath of it.
Really shows how good we're doing now when you look at what Max is getting paid right now and Shake Milton. They're getting paid nothing. Those two.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Shake. That's going to be the interesting one for me.
If he keeps playing the way he is, he's going to get paid.
Absolutely.
What was he? 48?
Late. Yeah. I mean, he's getting paid like $1 million or something stupid. Like something.
Yeah, we traded two guys to get him. That's the crazy part.
Levi says, I don't think he's getting a max, but he's getting 20 plus. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Rome was saying De'Aaron is better than Max even as a rookie and progress each year in a small market. It's not the same. It makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, right now De'Aaron's better, but I think Maxey could eventually be better than De'Aaron. My only point with De'Aaron, I love De'Aaron. Everyone knows this. It's just that he got a max contract and he doesn't appear to me to be a max type player.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just saw that, I'm like, ooh, okay. Like it's good. Like he's a very, very, very good player, but I don't think he's a max player.
What did De'Aaron?
No, I don't think so. It's hard to be a max.
Mm-hmm.
Philly says that Elton's best move was signing Shake to a 3-year deal.
Yeah, early.
Yeah. Yep.
That was before last year.
That's what you try to do. You try to get guys early, like you just said. You try to get guys, believing that they're going to progress into what you think they're going to be. You know what I mean? And that's another example of that.
I like it's not going to be a sexy move that anyone's going to bang the table for. I kind of like bring Furkan back at the cheapest shit price because he was a 40% 3-point shooter last year. Playing limited minutes and making piss money. Like, come on.
I think he's getting traded, Pete.
I think so.
No. I'm not disagreeing with that. But he's a great contract to have. He is a great deadline piece for a team that needs a shooter because he makes little to no money. He's not going to hurt your cap, and he can shoot 38 to 42% from three depending on the situation.
Yep.
I could 100% see the Lakers calling us at the deadline, being like, "What do you want for the guy?"
Ooh, Lakers, huh? I'll have to talk to Ralphie about
shooters
that.
Around LeBron.
That's a good point. Levi says, "I don't think we need Furkan if Isaiah Joe continues to show out." I don't want to get too carried away. Yeah, well, that's true as well. And like I said, I don't want to get too carried away with Isaiah Joe. He's looked good, but we always see the rookies kind of hit the wall. That's why I don't want to officially anoint Maxey as a max player because it's also off of 10, 11 games that we're talking about right now.
I use this as an argument, and I tell people to calm down, and they get mad at me. I said Dana Barros dropped 50 his rookie year. I'm just saying, let's not get crazy just yet.
Dana Barros.
Yes, I brought up Dana Barros.
Never found a shot he didn't like, Dana.
Nope.
And always loved his shots. He would jack all day.
Philly Sports Passion says the Nets have no bench. Their bench is 2 former Sixers, ironically. Yeah.
Yeah.
A Sixer they don't like playing for some reason.
So supposedly Daryl Bevel took the offensive coordinator spot in Carolina.
Yeah, that happened.
Okay.
Which means Joe Brady is taking a head coaching job.
Question being where?
Question is, where is he going?
G gang, let's search for clues.
I think the name of the team starts with the city with the letter P. Just saying.
Pittsburgh, got it. Mike Tomlin's
Shut
getting
up,
fired.
you. That's not
Tom will be okay with that because Tomlin might come here.
Listen, I'll throw a parade on Broad Street if Tomlin comes here.
Like getting Doc.
Yeah.
It's like getting Doc. Truthfully is.
Has he interviewed anywhere, Brady?
Yeah.
Well, according to he did interview with the Eagles. This was 2 days ago from Ian Rappaport.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't know. I don't know. Why, Philly? Why do you say that, Philly?
Ryan.
Philly, don't. I see. I'm concerned with this. Philly, why do you say that to me?
See, I've heard of that rumor going around with that the Chargers are locking on Daboll.
No matter what.
Well, then that really brings in the question where Bieniemy's going to go, because I have Bieniemy lock going to the Chargers. That's interesting. If that's the case,
Houston.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I just think he stays a year, and he's just like, if I were
if that's the case,
I would just wait to see what Andy does in the next few years and be like, because then I can just take over and be Mahomes' coach for the rest of his life. Like, like how many more years do we really think Andy's going to coach for? Like, I don't know.
10, 15. He'll be coaching until he's dead. That's just the kind of guy Andy is. Andy's not going to stop. He's not going to retire. He might, but
he's got a huge extension too.
Yeah, exactly. And especially if he keeps winning championships, he's not retiring anytime soon. He's making up for lost time right now. That's what he's doing.
Don't worry, Levi. Give it time. Give it time. The louder Deshaun Watson gets, less.
He went to a Houston Rockets game with Andre Johnson to show how much he doesn't give a fuck about his organization, and they still didn't interview him.
Interesting.
Well, maybe they'll get Jason Garrett. Who knows? I mean, listen, I wish him luck. But no, I mean, if that's the case and Bieniemy's off the board and Daboll's off the board, then God, Joe Brady, please, or Lincoln Riley, to your point, Tom. I mean, they're my only two saving graces.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it might be Joe Brady.
If Jason Garrett becomes the head coach of this football team, I'll never be able to look my grandfather in the eye again.
Well, and Tom brought it up earlier. It wouldn't surprise me after kind of what Tom said, because he played the yes man in Dallas very well, and it kept him a job there for 8 years. So, and again, that's kind of what Howie and Jeff are looking for, a yes man. So, I mean, he fits the profile perfectly, but if that happens, then I'm with Tom. I'm done. I'm done.
We got room for you in Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't want to be labeled the bandwagon. Appreciate it though.
Is this Frank? Is that official, Frank? The Lions with the Saints tight end coach?
From what I'm hearing, yes. I know I was checking it all over Twitter. Yeah, with the Twitterverse bringing up Eric Campbell as the front runner. They're waiting until the Saints season wraps up.
And that's the tight ends coach?
Yes.
They don't even value their tight ends. They have freaking Jared Cook, who's like a guy.
It's the Lions.
I was gonna say, like, no, but like I'm trying.
By this? They're a joke.
Listen,
like I could coach the Lions. Like, come on, like.
I'm trying to stick up for my guy Don. I mean, Don's not here. He's probably no wonder we haven't seen him tonight.
Yeah,
freaking hiding. He's like, oh my God, we could have gotten Robert Saleh. We get some guy who's a tight ends coach for a team who doesn't use tight ends.
Did he play for the Patriots? I know they really like those guys over there.
Probably caught a pass. He's probably one of the guys they drafted that was a bust.
Matt Patricia, you beautiful piece of shit.
Well, here comes Joe Brady then.
Yep.
Jake, you better be right about
Chargers?
this, Jake.
Wait, did he really sign with the Chargers?
No, that was his prediction.
No.
Yeah, that's his prediction.
Oh, his prediction. I thought someone was like saying it was happening.
Jake, I mean, you're the LSU guy. I mean,
mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, You're going to be the selling point for me because I like Joe Brady. I wanted him as an offensive coordinator. I don't.
Yep,
I don't know.
That was my guy last year.
I just don't know. I just don't know, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, right? Because obviously LSU in 2019, he was the passing and receiving game coordinator. And then in 2019, obviously, he's the offensive coordinator. Robbie Anderson had his best year. LSU had their best year.
Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson. I mean, like, the only issue that I really have, it's such a small sample size, right? Because it's only 2 years. But, I mean, from what he's shown he can coach an offense. So,
I mean, did Doug have any more of an, more
of what?
More of a resume than Joe Brady? Wasn't he only there for like 2 years?
Doug had a much longer resume than Joe.
No, I mean, like, obviously, like, in the NFL, I meant, like, as a coordinator. Because I only thought it was, like, a few years. But once again, I could 100% be wrong.
Yeah, no, I think Doug was with Andy for a while, even before he was in Kansas City. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
I know he worked. I know he worked for us in Philly as a quality coordinator.
See, Colin, I don't know.
I think I completely buy into that, Colin.
Well, see, my only thing is, too, you have to remember who's before us. Cincinnati's right before us. Maybe they're thinking possibly reuniting Joe and Chase.
If there is anything that I'm willing to bet on, it's they're not going wide receiver. He was one of those guys who were getting knocked on his ass every 2 seconds. So
I agree with Pete.
I think Penei Sewell or whatever his name is? Penei Sewell. Yeah, I think that's the guy because
if he's there,
remember he got fought.
He'll be there.
He tore his ACL and LCL, right?
Yeah, he had a big knee injury. Yep.
So you can't afford, and this is the guy they drafted number 1. You cannot afford another fucking injury.
Oh no, I agree with you. Absolutely.
Yeah, I completely understand the reuniting of Chase and Burrow, but they have Higgins. I mean, they have like 4 wide receivers.
Oh yeah, no, they're absolutely stacked.
They got Higgins, they got AJ Green, they got Tyler Boyd.
Well, they won't have Green.
Joe Mixon can be a passer catcher.
They won't have Green anymore. He's a free agent.
They still have a solid receiving core.
Yeah, but no, like their 4th receiver is better than our number 1 receiver.
Oh yeah, that's not a question.
So, but like I wouldn't be shocked just because of the chemistry, but I think they should just take the guy that's going to protect their franchise quarterback and go to bed.
I mean, I want my guy Devonta, but there ain't no fucking way in hell we get it though.
Chrome says, "Hey guys, thoughts on Jared Mayo as a dark horse?"
I'd like him as a DC.
I would like him as a coordinator, but not.
I feel
not as a coach.
I feel I'm very uncomfortable as a signing a former Patriots coach because they're so spotty.
Yeah.
The only one I can think of that's been a success is Brian Flores.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia.
He's garbage.
Mike
Vrabel.
He never officially didn't he not actually work for the Patriots? Wasn't he like just a former player or something?
He was a positions coach, I thought.
Really? Can someone look that up? Because I'm not 100 on that.
Pretty sure he was a coach.
I just thought he was a player for them.
Vrabel was a former player under Belichick.
Yeah. I don't like former coaches.
He was he was hired by the Texans, so he was under I think it was Bob, yeah.
Yep.
14, yep. Bob.
14, 16.
No,
DC,
Matt,
10.
you are not being hired.
Matt Nagy.
You suck as much as Doug.
Well, you're staying in Chicago for another year. So.
You got the Matt Nagy account. Wait till like Adam Gase shows up with the bug-eyed look and be like, hire me.
Yeah.
Can I just laugh that people keep banging the table for Adam Gase? They're like, he was amazing with Tim Tebow.
I mean, I'll take him as a
Peyton Manning.
No, Jake, don't say that. You'll take him nothing. You'll take him nothing, Jake. I don't want him in the building. You kidding me?
Look what he did with Ryan Tannehill.
It's all right. They'll score on their first possession every game if Adam's in the building, and they won't score after.
Ironically, that was like the random ass stat of 2020 where they scored on every first possession or so but like they just suck the rest of the game. I mean, the Jets helped me win $200, so thanks, guys. Thanks for nothing.
Pop Mudness says Miami takes our guy. If we were looking wide receiver, they need someone else to play with Parker.
Don't they have Lynn Bonnet? Didn't they just grab him from the Raiders?
Yeah, but I mean, he's not. I mean, he can't compete with a guy like friggin'
No, I'm not saying he can.
Devontae Smith, yeah.
hot take. My hot take is, I think they make a trade for Deshaun Watson.
That's not even really a hot take. That's a possibility. Deshaun's been vocal about it.
I didn't like Tua. I didn't like Tua coming out. I don't like him in
I'm
there.
not a Tua fan.
I'm not either, especially after
I'm
this
not
year.
an Alabama quarterback fan because that place is a fucking factory. Like, like we're talking about real life quarterback factories. It's fucking Alabama football. I tried to recruit my Princeton quarterback to be a part of that factory, man.
I think Levi's spot on here.
Yeah.
Miami takes Smith. Atlanta takes quarterback. Bengals take Sewell. We take Chase. I would probably.
I'd be fine with that. I mean, at least we get one of the two best wide receivers on.
If it's one,
all right, here's an interesting one that I've seen floated around because there's discussions of Saleh maybe sticking with Darnold. So if you're sticking with Darnold at 2, would you maybe be willing to look at 6-2? You know, maybe get or 6-3, whatever. Maybe get Devonta Smith. Or are we just so fucked that like we can't even comprehend?
I don't think, as much as we have the pick to do it, I just don't think we're gonna pull it off to make that jump to 6-2.
I know. I mean, Devonta Smith breaks my Heisman rule, but you know,
if anything, we're trading back. That's what I think. If we're gonna make a trade, we're trading back.
So if Smith is there at 6, or let's say for hypothetical, Devonta Smith and Jamar Chase are there at 6. Do you stay and take one of them, or do you trade back?
I mean, I'd stay and take one of them, but that's just me.
It's been a hot topic.
Yeah, but Howie would probably trade back. The obvious choice, Howie would make the opposite decision.
Yeah, it's true.
I've told you before. I'm so confident what's going to happen. They're going to trade back to 11 and take Gregory Rousseau. I'm just telling you.
Another stupid one I've seen is they take Kyle Pitts at 6, and I would drive myself to the George Washington Bridge and jump off it like my dad.
I'll throw this computer through the window live on the air. Like if we do that.
You thought last year's live reaction was bad?
No, it'll be eternal violence if we do that.
I still have hopes for Rager, but yeah, I was fine with him or Jefferson, but everyone told me, he can't play on the outside. He's a slot guy. Only stupid people think he can be on the outside.
I had that argument with so many people, including Chuck's last year. You have no idea.
I brought up stats from the year before showing he played like 90% on the outside, and they're like, he doesn't have the stats. Yeah, he didn't have the stats because Joe Burrow played like a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, what a dunk by LeBron. Jeez.
No.
Like 20 years ago? Jeez.
Ralph's probably jumping around in this house right now.
Let's go, LeBron.
Yeah.
That's not to love.
Like he played a ton outside the year before. He moved to the slot because of Chase and to be a good teammate, and actually became a better route runner playing in the slot. So, I mean,
in the Joe Brady system.
Yep.
Just saying.
If Joe Brady's the guy, I've seen a lot of people blowing for Joe Brady, so I just want it to be right. So
blow for Joe.
If that gets it right.
What did you say?
Blow for Joe.
Yep.
Blow for Joey.
T-shirt coming A2D.
Now I'm sad because you said Joe.
Alex.
Tom, can we make that a T-shirt, Tom?
Yeah, hopefully people.
Blow for Joe.
Hopefully people are right. You know what I mean? Whoever the guy is. So whoever the guy is, hopefully people are right. But listen, fam, we're going to jump off now. But remember, you guys can call in any Friday you want and jump on with us and have a conversation, and we'll give you a couple minutes. So, Rome, I see you didn't have the guts tonight, and I hear you. I know JP was trying to get on. I don't know what happened to him. So, jump on next week, JP, and you can get all aggressive. We'll give you a couple minutes. So, but family, we love you. We thank you for helping us get over 4,000 subscribers, official on YouTube. So, can't thank you guys enough for subscribing over there. Wherever you're you're watching right now, give us a like, give us a follow. If you're over in the podcast game, we're everywhere. Give us a little review, a little download. You know how it goes. We can't thank you guys enough for jumping on. I mean, you sent 5,000 comments. It's the same thing. 5,000 comments.
Never got a request from you, JP. Never got a message.
What to do when you inbox me, Jay. So we love you anyway. Next week we'll get you. If anybody else wants to jump on next week, you guys are more than welcome. That's why we're doing it. So we love you all. We got to thank our doc, of course. Make him yours. Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, Burlington, Cherry Hill locations. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com, as well as allcampusoc.com. Use discount code A2D for 15% off all your team hats. That's allcampusoc.com. Discount code A2D, 15% off all your team hats. All you got to do, if it's not in, let John Coyle know how you're looking for, and he'll get it. Time's running out to get your Philly Drinkers A2D Nike hoodies. Use code 2021. You get 10% off. All you got to do is go to phillydrinkers.com, and in the search bar, just search Nike, and it'll pop right up for you. So nothing to even worry about there. Simple, easy. phillydrinkers.com. You can just search A2D, search Nike when you go there, whatever, it comes up. So use code 2021, 10% off. You only got like 2 or 3 days left to get this order in. So get it in. Get the hoodie. Already got myself 2. Let's go. Boys, great show. Ton of fun tonight. We'll do it again next Friday. For Tom Arnone, Ryan Brodo, Jake Friel, Frank Vespi, Pete Young, something like that. And Pete Young, Paul Hudrick for jumping on, Sixers Insider for ESPN 97.3. We thank him for jumping on, taking some time out, talking some Sixers with us. And we appreciate all you guys in the comments, and you drive the show. So I'm not going to continue to blow you guys. We love you. We out.
Well for Joe.